What is good, yo? What is good? How is everybody doing today? Let me turn this music off. There we go. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's good. We are back with another stream. Should be fun. Should be fun. Sometimes talking about these topics can definitely be like depressing as shit, but I don't know, man. At this point, nothing about the political atmosphere and especially the government surprises me at this point. So, but just a quick rundown of the topics. We're gonna be talking about Jimmy Dore, man. Jimmy Dore been spitting, bro. He been saying some shit. So I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on that. We're gonna talk a little bit about Ilhan Omar's removal from her committee position. Um, it's fascinating stuff. I have definitely not I don't think my thoughts are going to be too much different from other anti-imperialist voices. I'm definitely not going to be on some Ilhan Omar's a terrorist shit because that's fucking stupid. Yes, exactly. Jimmy Dore, man. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Ilhan Omar. We're gonna make fun of AOC a little bit too. I try not to talk about AOC on this channel because we already know what's up with Shorty. But oh my god, bro, it's like sweet Lord in heaven if there was one. Uh, oh my god, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna watch this Caleb Maupin video. Shouts out to Caleb. I think he's streaming right now with Peter Coffin, I think. So definitely you know, don't leave my stream to go watch this shit. Watch my shit first, then go watch. It's like, nah, I love Caleb. Love Caleb's work. So definitely go check him and Peter's interview out after you leave here. But we're gonna be reacting to one of his RT stories about TikTok in the United States trying to ban TikTok. And in tandem with that, I have a couple articles about, just highlighting the hypocrisy of the United States' stance on China and TikTok. I'm going to save the weather balloon stuff. I might do a stream on Saturday. I don't know yet because I'm doing another podcast Saturday. So I don't know if I'm going to have the time to, but if we do, it's going to be more of like an informal stream, even though most of my streams are informal, but it's just going to be more so me reacting to videos, not necessarily like giving like commentary and reading through stories like like I usually do. So I might do that. I don't know yet. We'll see. I have a great article about whether police protect their service or not. I think we all know the fucking answers after watching the police literally shoot a double amputee. So yeah, there's that. We're gonna be talking about that. And I have some, a couple other stories that we're going to be going through. And then my guy Josh is going to be coming back. Unfortunately, my lethargicness, my laziness didn't allow me to get a panel together again this time. Folks, we are going to get this panel together. I'm going to do this panel. I just got to stop being fucking lazy and actually hit people up and get them on here. So, yeah. So, but yeah. So should be a dope show today. Should be a dope show. So, I guess let's go ahead and get into our first story. So everybody knows, there's no secret here that I'm a fan of Jimmy Dore. I'm a fan of his show. Just a fan of his work overall. And he's always been an anti-imperialist voice, which is why I've always found it weird that back in the day I found it weird that quote unquote leftists and who are supposed to be anti-war, they're not really anti-war was shit on him all the time for his takes, whether it was on Venezuela, Syria, wherever it was. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest. This is a small critique. I've always found it like not necessarily annoying because I'm not one of those people that's like, you have to talk about this specific topic or I don't fuck with you, da da da. Like, I'm not that person, but I've always been like, you're able to see, the bullshit when it comes with Syria, the bullshit when it comes with, you know, yeah, the Wi-Fi is doing the Wi-Fi thing again. Guys, I'm sorry. It's technical difficulties as usual. But but I've always sensed like a hesitance to take that step with China. But he didn't hesitate on and on Tucker Carlson show, like the number one news person in the country. Millions of people watch his show. Like he didn't hesitate there. So applaud Jimmy for this, man, because like the we see the China buildup. They're now trying to like push this whole balloon thing. I think I might talk about that tomorrow if I stream tomorrow. I just haven't gotten a chance to actually read through the story, but from what it looks like, they're trying to say China was spying on us with fucking balloons or some shit. It's fucking stupid. It's so stupid. But yeah. So Jimmy went on Tucker Carlson show, as I just said, and I'm gonna pull the video up. Hopefully it plays. And literally kicked straight facts to Tucker's face into his audience. Now, I will say, I'm not one of these people. Again, I'm able to take salient points that a person is saying and presenting and and separate that from the fuckery that they're saying. Because I'm not going to front. I'm not a big Tucker Carlson fan. Like I've always gave him a tip of the hat when it came to his foreign policy coverage. How he's basically the only guy at Fox News calling out the fuckery when it comes to Ukraine, Syria. Even though within that coverage, I feel like a lot of his like overall points like are kind of like not good, but overall pointing out the facts of the matter, I think he's been good at. But police. Let me try and fix this Wi-Fi situation because it's really aggravating me right now. Let me try and fix this. Keeps dropping. All right, let's see how this works. Hang on. I'm sorry, guys. It's my Wi-Fi, man. Just sucks. I will be right back, guys. All right, we're gonna try this again. But yeah, so continuing, we're gonna I don't even know what is this. All right, we're so yeah. So Tucker Carlson, his recent like what he's been presenting with the string of police brutality incidents that we're experiencing now, what that's being highlighted by the media, because this is something that is just a thing in America. Police are trash in America. But especially bringing on Jason Whitlock, like just like parading these coons around to push this like stupid ass these dumbass narratives, anything to deflect criticism and revolt against the established orders, which the police are. That the police are the branch of imperialism here at home, along with the FBI and other agencies as well. So it's very like not even disheartening. It's very aggravating to see somebody be able to point out not necessarily imperialism, but the hegemonic dominance the United States is trying to exert overseas, but they don't see that happening here at home. Even like, and again, I always present this as this isn't a black or white issue. This is a this is an issue of the state, the boot of the state coming down on the people. So but again, like I said, I'm able to discern, to take the salient points a person is making and ride with that and use that as messaging. And Jimmy Dore does that so perfectly here in this video. that it's just amazing. I mean, it has this video has 1.9 million views, guys. I want you to know that. So Matt, this is Max Blumenthal, your enemy is not that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video, because I think this is, this is so much, such an important message to be getting out right now.
We're the ones provoking this war, just like we provoked the war in Ukraine. We are now provoking a war with China. And who benefits? I'll tell you right now. Your enemy is not China. Your enemy is not Russia. Your enemy is the military-industrial complex, which has been fleecing this country to the tunes of hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. How many times are we going to have a defense secretary say, "Hey, we can't account for $2 trillion in the Pentagon again"? Which has happened twice now in my lifetime. So again, people are being the war machine cannot be stopped. Who's running this country? The war machine. It certainly isn't Joe Biden making these decisions. I would like to know who is making the decisions. And I just want to remind everybody, the United States is the world terrorist. We just set the Middle East on fire in the last 20 years. And now we're doing a proxy war in Ukraine, which we provoked, NATO provoked, and it was just admitted that we provoked it by the former prime minister of Germany. And now we're trying to saber rattle with China, and they're predicting a war. Again, China's not going to invade us. China's not our enemy. We might have an economic war. That's what these are. These are economic wars. These are wars in Ukraine. It's about liquefied natural gas and making sure Germany and Russia never come together, because we fear Russia's natural resources and manpower, and we fear them getting together with Germany with their technology and their capital. And so that's why we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. That's why we're doing the Ukraine war. This is all about hegemony, imperialism, and economics. And if there's a Marine somewhere, it's there because they're about to steal some natural resources from another country. As everybody's screaming about what a bad guy Putin is for invading Ukraine, the United States is currently occupying a third of Syria. And which third is that? It's the third that has the oil. And how do I know we're there to steal their oil? Because the president of the United States said so.
And we're not even benefiting economically. Of course, that's the rub. Jimmy Dore, appreciate it. Thank you.
So yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. And that last point he's referencing there, like, how do I know? So when he's talking about we're occupying a third of Syria, so I just want you guys to know. Let me see if I could pull up a map real quick. Syria. I think 3 different countries that's occupying Syria right now. Hang on, let me see if I can find this map. Gosh darn it. Oh well, I should have had this. I should have had it up. I forgot he made that point in this video, but you literally have like 2 or 3 different countries occupying Syria. You have Turkey there, you have the United States there, as he said, in the oil fields, the oil and the wheat fields. And he's referencing a while ago, there was 2 instances where Trump, when Trump was in office, where he basically said, "We're there for the oil, the beautiful oil." I used to tell Obama to go in there, take the oil, and leave. Like, he said that. And then there was an interview with Laura Ingraham, and I believe I covered this on the channel a while ago. There was an interview Trump did with Laura Ingraham. Yeah. But oh yeah, I'll comment on that in a minute, Chris. But there was this he did an interview. Trump did an interview with Laura Ingraham where he said the same thing. He was like, "Look, we're there to take the oil. That's what we're in Syria for." And she realized, like, "Yo, bro, you're giving the plot away. Like, we're not there to steal the oil, right?" He's like, "No, we're there to steal the oil." Like, he just doubled down on it, like, yeah, bitch, that's what we're there for. Let's stop pretending. That's one of the reasons why they didn't like Trump, by the way, because he didn't put a pretty face on imperialism. He was just straight up with what he was trying to do. And that's, was crazy too, because he was doing everything the military industrial complex wanted him to do. Now there's some people that's saying he was doing that under duress, this, that, and the third. Like, in my opinion, I call bullshit on that. There's like, look, I'm gonna keep it a bean. There's always an excuse when certain people do certain things. Let's just put it that way. There's always an excuse for certain people, but others always have to be called to action for what they're doing. But regardless, Trump didn't put a pretty face on imperialism, and that's why the establishment didn't fuck with him like that. But those points that Jimmy was making, man, like that's straight up. This is what or was it Eisenhower? I believe it was Eisenhower. Was talking about when he gave his famous military-industrial complex speech, and we're living in that right now. All of our foreign policy is completely dictated by either that Mick or the fossil fuel cartels. So Jimmy making those points, again, is extremely, salient and beneficial because most of Tucker Carlson's audience believe that China sent a weather balloon to America to spy on us. Okay, they believe that China is trying to trying to steal data from dancing sorority chicks on TikTok. Like they believe all this shit. And it's like it's good that you have a voice on there. People always talk about Jimmy and other leftists and everything that go on Tucker Carlson show. You guys go in there, you never push back on them. Da da da. This was like Jimmy explicitly pushing back on a lot of the bullshit that Tucker pushes about China. So there's a perfect example of that right there. Yes. Thanks, Chris. But Chris makes this point as well. Russia's going to have some tough calls to make as to who are friends, who are friends with them in the Middle East. And I agree and I disagree. What you got to realize is, countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE that are usually aligned with the United States are sick of the United States as shit, and that was kind of accelerated with Biden in office. They really don't fuck with Biden. So I don't think it's going to be hard to discern that because Russia's not in this to necessarily look for friends. Russia's in this to look for business partners. The same thing with China. They just want to be able to, economically develop, to be able to go about, conducting business and trade without the fear of, being sanctioned to death. You feel me? So that's the appeal that these countries are feeling. If you look at BRICS, these countries are very, within these countries are very, different and diverse. But the main point that they're all coming together on is trade, free economic development, industrialization outside of the purview of the United States, outside of the hegemonic dominance of the United States that is waning at the fastest pace I've ever seen it happen. And another point Jimmy makes there is that we always like right now, like Republicans, and this isn't like a spiel about me shitting on Republicans, but are talking about trying not raising the debt ceiling. They're arguing about money now, basically. And it's like when it comes to poor people, we're always arguing about money, but nobody's arguing about the fucking war budget. The Freedom Caucus, and I applaud them for doing that. One of their concessions was lowering the Pentagon budget. I'll believe it when I see it. You can say people. We also got to stop taking politicians for their word as well. Good that they're talking about this. They're putting it in the political lexicon. That is good. But until I see action on this from a politician, there's a difference between Jimmy Dore going on Fox News and raising an anti-war message and a politician who has power and can do something about it. And I feel like people conflate those two things. So Jimmy's power is speaking to the people and getting the people to demand these things from those politicians. And unfortunately, those demands are not coming from the left right now. They're coming from the right. And this is like our argument I got into on Twitter. But, framing everything in this left versus right dynamic is stupid in the first place because it's like, bro, like the whole dynamics are changing in America. That's the thing. Like, you got more conservatives that are, more anti-war than they've ever been. You can criticize their reasonings for doing it. Like Tucker gave, the traditional response there. It's not even economically beneficial for us to, be doing these things. And it's like, well, if it was economically, salient for us, would you be okay with this? That's an argument you can bring up and we can make another day. But right now, we're aligned on this. Let's talk about this. But the reason why you get a lot of leftists that don't want to talk about this is because a lot of leftists are pro-war under the guise of, rights and freedoms and freeing gay people or whatever. I don't know what the fuck these motherfuckers believe the United States is doing in these countries. Like Marianne Williamson wanted to stay in Afghanistan so we could protect Afghani women. I still laugh every time I say that. Every time I hear that out loud. That's just fucking stupid. But yeah, so Jimmy going on there. I applaud him for doing that. I applaud Tucker Carlson for having him on. There was a couple videos people were putting on Twitter where like somebody edited the video. I want to learn how to do that editing. It's probably easy. I'm probably just like making it too hard on my brain, making it out to be a hard thing in my brain. But they had Joy Reid. They edited the clip to make it look like Jimmy was saying this stuff on Joy and Reid's show. It's fucking hilarious, bro. And people were commenting down below. I applaud Joy for having Jimmy on. You should have him on more. Blue Moon Red Wine was like, Joy, when are you gonna bring Jimmy back on? She's fucking hilarious. Yo, Lucy spits fire, bro. Lucy spits fire. I don't know if y'all saw her AOC thing where she confronted AOC. Go subscribe to Blue Moon Red Wine if you guys are not, and pay attention to the stuff she's involved in. She's doing great work over there on her channel, man. Salute to her as well. So we're gonna go ahead and move into the second video from Jimmy though that I feel is like amazing as well. If I could get it up, he's been, I guess, doing the rounds, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on Joe Rogan's show soon because Kyle Kalinske was just on there. I'm gonna listen to that and see if Kyle says any fucking stupid shit. But because like I said, I try not to talk about these people because we know what's up with these motherfuckers, bro. Like I feel like it's no point in even talking about them really anymore because we know what's up. Like if I know what's up, I'm not gonna listen to these niggas. That's just how I move. That's how I'm built. If I know somebody full of shit, why am I still gonna listen to this nigga? Referencing the friend, man. Yeah, Garland Nixon. Yeah, she Jay. That's a good point. I prefer Garland Nixon's left versus right, referencing the French. Being left simply meant you opposed the ruling power structure. Yeah, and that's why I make a specification that I lean more into Marxism, communism, socialism, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I feel like those things are beyond the left. Caleb Maupin talks about that a lot. How communism isn't inherently monogamous to leftism. So he talks about that on his channel a lot. Go to his channel and watch his speeches and his lectures where he talks about Caleb is a good I'm telling you, bro, I'm like, Caleb, let me do your production, bro. I'm not saying Caleb's production's not good, but I'm saying like if we put some fire ass effects on Caleb's lectures, his lecture video, he has a couple of videos where he like formatted it into a video essay. I'm like, yes, do more of this, because it's entertaining to watch. And Caleb's an entertaining person already. He's the way he I like the way he speaks. It really like harkens back to like those like old like 1920s speeches people used to do, but and 60s as well. Like Caleb's an old school. An old school communist, bro. The more I read about how those old school communists was, like Caleb really reminds me of the motherfuckers. But I'm not going. Look, man, I'm not going to shit on the man's current setup, but I'm just saying, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Like, why do you think motherfuckers listen to Jordan Peterson, bro? Bro, Jordan Peterson, who doesn't even know who thinks materialism is literally just having more shit. Dialectical materialism is just having more shit. So definitely go check that out. Yeah, Caleb is based. But Garland Nixon, I like the way I'm trying to find a way to reach out to Garland because I want to have him on the Tox Talk podcast. So in case y'all didn't know, the Tox Talk is where I do like interviews, I bring people on and everything. And so definitely tweet at him, tell him Bendu from American Autopsy is trying to get at him, get him on the show. But yeah, Garland Nixon as well. Definitely go check his perspectives and analysis is amazing as well. But the way he talks about left versus right and everything is really dope. And dude, if Caleb went on Rogan, bro, it'd be a rap, dog. It'd be a wrap, dog. I'm telling you right now. So yeah, I would like to see Caleb on yeah. But listen, let me get back on topic. But the way Garland explains it is good as well too. So, but let's go ahead and move into this other Jimmy video that I had, where Jimmy. This is another thing too, and this isn't like I'm not trying to make this a defend Jimmy Dore thing, but it's always like I see the same thing. Oh, Jimmy Dore is a white supremacist. He's moving into white supremacist territory. This, that, and the third. He's a conservative now. He's a Republican. All this shit. He's a libertarian, but it's like one of the things Jimmy has always been consistent on is policing that I've always appreciated from him is policing. Even when I wasn't all the way there on police, like Jimmy was talking about abolishment before I was there, bro. Before I was there. And it's like it's amazing to see to have somebody on on this platform. Jimmy has like 1 million subscribers, bro. He's like one of the most famous online political people out there. So having him have the stance he does on police is nothing but beneficial to the people's movement against the police. And it's this segment is just amazing the way he talks about this and also adds in the class dynamic aspect of it as well.
The United States of America to try and make sense of what's going on in that crazy country and what that crazy country is doing around the world is the one and only Jimmy Dore, who joins us now, host of the legendary Jimmy Dore Show. Jimmy, let's start with a very somber matter.
Elizabeth, I'm going to try to get out there. I don't know if I have to work or not. That's the only thing. I want to go, but I may have to work, which is the sucky part. So we will definitely see. I want to get out there because a lot of people that I want to link up with and talk to and possibly, set up interviews with and everything. Is going to be out there. So I definitely want to get out there and just to be engaged with people, that have this anti-imperialist sentiment going with it, because you could be anti-war and not be anti-imperialist. We see that with Medea Benjamin, who dropped out much the same way a lot of people dropped out from the march, the healthcare marches that they did, because people started spreading these rumors, about white supremacists being there or whatever. I think I heard Medea Benjamin dropped out because of that, which is trash. But that's when you get people who are just anti-war and not anti-imperialist. I like to say, I hate war. I obviously, I've never been in a war. I can never understand what it's like to be in a war. However, that being said, I call myself an anti-imperialist because sometimes you are forced into a situation where you do have to fight. I've been in situations where I had to fight, especially growing when I was younger. I lived in Philly and I grew up. Sometimes, bro, look, I say it like this on Twitter: niggas just gotta fight sometimes, bro. That's just what it is. Especially if you got siblings, bro, niggas just gotta fight sometimes, bro. Like, straight up, that's the best way I can put it. Niggas just gotta fight sometimes, bro. And you want to try to avoid it at all cost. However, that people will put you in situations where you have to defend yourself. So that is why I abhor this mindset. Laughing emotions. But real shit, but G shit, bro. Yo, like G shit. Like I abhor this mindset that you're supposed to stand there and keep turning the other cheek, bro. Like, nah, fam, nah, bro, nah. I ain't with that shit, bro. I want to know motherfuckers that think, look, thank you, Dr. King, for the work you did, but I'm not on that bitch ass shit, bro. Fuck that, bro. Why you think I'm telling my niggas, yo, exercise that 2A, bro. One of them fucking bacon boys come acting stupid. You have that thing, they gonna get that act right quick. I'm telling you, bro. If Americans, and especially Black Americans, if we started arming up in higher numbers, bro, the police gonna get on that act right quick. I'm telling you, bro. I am telling you. So that's why I abhor war. I don't want war to happen. But real shit, G shit, bro. Some niggas just gonna test you, bro, and you gotta let niggas know sometimes. Nah. It ain't nothing sweet over here, bro. So yeah, real shit. So that whole like stand there and fuck that. Fuck that. I'll let that shit happen to me a couple times when I was younger. I got my ass beat because he especially when I moved to Delaware, I was around a lot of white people. So you got a big black kid, you know, and shit like that. It's not good optics. And even my mom would sit down and have conversations with me as we were around more white people. She had conversations with me and everything. But nah, fuck that shit, bro. I turned into a savage in middle school or in middle school, bro. I was like, nah, fuck that, bro. Somebody talked to me wrong. Nah, what? Yeah. But yeah, so but Nick, bro, like this, but this whole like exactly this right here. Pacifism only works when your enemy has a conscience. Exactly. Some niggas gotta get that act right, bro. That's just straight up what it is. They gotta get slapped in their mouth to get that act right sometimes. You don't want it to happen. I'm a peaceful person. You guys, anybody around me, I'm not like, you know, rah, this, that, and the third. But it gets to a certain point where nah. What's this? Everybody should see today's A and Word with Palestine. See Steve interviews Scott Ritter. Questions about the military and patriotism. At the end, he drops some heavy. I'm gonna have to check that out. I like Scott Ritter. I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, Jimmy makes these this great point. Let's go ahead and get back into the video because he really makes some great points here. If I can get back to it.
Indeed, the whole world has now seen body cam footage of the savage clubbing to death of Tyree Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee. The police not just killing him, but leaving him there to die slowly. The other services that turned up after the fact, standing around, laughing, joking, smoking, and so on. It's possibly the worst movie out of America that wasn't made by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, it's, you know, policing, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but certainly in America, it's broken, and it's been broken for a long time. And they fill our policing with ex-military people too, which is another bad thing. And there's lots of ways to reform the police in the United States, but the oligarchy doesn't want it. So let's remember what the police are there. They're not really there to keep you safe. They're there to protect the property of the oligarchies. And so even though these policemen were all African American, they're still saying that this was, you know, because of systemic racism inside the policing in America. I think police in America are just they recruit the wrong people. They're out of control.
So I just want to pause it right there because that's where, like, not necessarily, I don't disagree with him there, but I have like a slight like pushback because I don't see. Here's the thing: it's not about them recruiting the wrong people. It's about the fact that when you look at going into the systemic racism aspects, and a lot of people are, you know, I don't know if they're afraid. I'm not saying Jimmy's afraid to talk about this. Jimmy has talked about this all the time on his channel, but I see a lot of like white leftists when they talk about this, and a lot of other, you know, white people who talk about this issue, is that you got to realize that you say, like they say this all the time, police are there to protect property. Bet you're right. Since we all know the origins of policing goes all the way back to slave patrols, what property were they protecting then? People like me, because I was considered property. So when you talk about systemic rape, you think that left the police department? If that is your origins, do you think that just magically vanished? Oh, we don't know. And people are like, well, it was black cops that did it. Bro, black people have a saying. You guys have probably heard this shit. You probably heard us say this shit all the time. All skin folk ain't your kinfolk. And that's straight up what it is. You got a lot of niggas out here, and I'm keeping it a bean to all my black folk watching. You know, you got a lot of niggas out here that want to be welcomed into that white structure. And like, it's a saying that I like to say as well: the higher you go, the more you're gonna see snow. So the higher up you go in these institutions, you know, the more white people you're going to be around. And unfortunately, you have a lot of black people, black men especially, out there with internalized hatred of themselves and of their people, that they want to be white. Like you hear these niggas, it's the same niggas that be talking about, I don't see race. They quote Martin Luther King all the time, not knowing the full context of this quote, but I don't see skin color. I judge people by the content of their character. Yeah, B, that's cool. But when you look at the systemic issues that Black people have and the history behind that, like, we know what you're trying to do at that point. So, and also, this is something that me and Josh are probably going to talk about later on the panel. But when you look at how, and this is something I've been talking about on Twitter, when you look at how, other groups are so quick, to go along with white supremacy at times, to where, I say this all the time. I think Black people, we really need to reevaluate our political alliances and who we ally with, because our allies always end up leaving us out in the cold. They get what they want and they're gone, whether it's the LGBT movement, the feminist movement. Shit, I have a video. I forgot to send it to myself so I could play it. There's a video of like this, like she was like a female house person or something like that, or a senator. I forget what it was exactly, but she was talking about basically how feminists, they were against the civil rights movement at a point because they felt that why should a Black woman get rights that we don't even have yet? Bro, I lied to you not. So she was basically admitting that they purposely like fought to water down the Civil Rights Act because white women weren't getting what they wanted. It's crazy. The Funky Academic was talking about this. I don't know, his name's like Arami Frimspong or something like that. That's another guy I want to have on the show. That nigga spits fire, bro. I want to have him on the show ASAP. But I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not going to comment on that. But y'all, you know who I'm talking to. I see that comment. I'm not going. Hey, look, bro. Look. But yeah, so and my dad always told my dad told me this shit all the time, bro. Like, white supremacy always breaks its tools at the end, and you're seeing that play out exactly with these cops, bro. Exactly. So this concept that just because they're Black, this can't be, a racist, motivated, thing. That's, that lacks nuance and proper analysis. But I'm not saying Jimmy's saying that, but we have to, if we're going to talk about these things, we have to highlight that point. And that's why I'm here, honestly. So, but Jimmy, I've heard literally, dog, go back and watch Jimmy's old back catalog, bro. This motherfucker, this nigga, he's literally gotten into arguments with other white people because of how strong his anti-police stances are. Like, so Jimmy does a great job when it comes to talking about policing.
Maniacs, they're hopped up on steroids. They don't live in the neighborhoods that they police in, so they don't see the citizenry in America as someone that they're supposed to serve. They see them as the enemy. And so, like, for instance, in Los Angeles, all the cops live 30 miles outside of the city, and then they drive into the city to police us like they're animals. So that's what happens. And there's really so we did a whole year of protests in the United States. It was the biggest protest in the history of our country. And what the Democrats did after that year of protests was they invented another police department, and they funded it with $2 billion. And then they gave many more millions of dollars to the police. It was the exact opposite of what their voters wanted them to do.
And people like me and Jimmy and Nick from RBN, CJ, all of RBN, really, all of us kept saying this, but people, whatever, they're out to brunch. And we all know what's up with the Black Lives Matter organization, the organization. We know what's up with them. So it's like, yo, y'all went out there and did all that marching, all that rioting, all this shit. It was good that this conversation was brought back into the lexicon, but no action was brought because of this shit. And I told you, I got into multiple Facebook debates, but one rings in my head. I got into a debate with a classmate where when this shit happened, the George Floyd shit happened, and all the protests were happening, and Trump was talking about sending in the National Guard, all that shit. This classmate of mine posted, say, y'all know we got to vote for Biden, right? the logic. I wish I could play the meme where it's like Shorty and all the math equations are going around her face and shit. Because I'm like, yo, do you not know the history of this nigga Biden? I told her he was going to do exactly what he did when he got in the office. And he told y'all niggas what he wasn't going to do. He said, y'all ain't getting shit from me. No executive orders, no nothing. But you know who we did get shit for, right? All that. He passed that anti-Asian hate bill. He passed that LGBT bill. They went hard for the feminist and white women when it came to the abortion stuff. They codified gay marriage. But we can't get a George Floyd bill. How does that? I wonder why that is. But you know what? I'm going to vote for Biden, and I'm going to vote for Camel Toe Harris, who says she's black one day, but then she's Indian the next. So that's what I'm saying with black people specifically. We really need to evaluate our allies, because clearly it's very clear our allies ain't thinking about us. And I'm just keeping it a bean. And a lot of white people across the spectrum don't like to hear that shit. But guess what? It has to be said at this point, because this is crazy. Nigga, they just shot a nigga with no legs, bro. They just shot a nigga with no legs. Real shit. She's biracial. Yeah, I understand that she's biracial, but what you gotta realize is when she was running for president, and then eventually when she got selected, they were playing her herself, and the media were playing up this aspect of her being the first black woman elected. But then when she gets into office, like, never talks about black issues. This bitch had the audacity. I think she showed up to his funeral. And we all know her history, with law enforcement. We know how she feels about law enforcement. She want to lock fucking parents up because their kids are skipping school. We know what's up with her. So that's the point I'm making. But so yeah, and Jimmy, Jimmy's making a lot of salient points here, bro.
So again, we live in an oligarchy. That's why there will be no police reform, because the police serve the oligarchs. It's the same problem with everything. It's why we don't have healthcare in America, the richest country in the world. It's why the richest country in the world, half of the people here are poor or low income. It's 80% of workers live paycheck to paycheck in the richest country in the world, because people don't realize that the United States, people in America think the United States is just regular corrupt. They don't understand that it's 100% corrupt, which is why we can send $100 billion to Nazis in Ukraine right in our face, when we won't send $100 billion to the United States so that we can fix homelessness or give people health care or a living wage. And the people see that this is happening now, slowly starting to see whether they will get joined together and rise up. They need a leader to bring people together. And what's starting to happen in America is people on the left and the right are starting to see that they share a common interest. And that's what actually scares the oligarchy the most. And so if that happens, then maybe we can have some reform of the police. If that happens, maybe we can have healthcare in America. If that happens, maybe we can end these murderous wars for fossil fuels and hegemony, and maybe we can start investing in our own country. We don't have, we were supposed to get high-speed trains here during the first economic collapse in 2008. They were supposed to have high-speed trains all over America. They never built one. We don't have anything in the United States that other countries have. We don't have health care. We don't have transportation. We don't have living wage. We have education system that bankrupts you, and it's because our country is completely 100% bought by corporations, right? So we're living in a fascist state, and the trick they play is the Democrats and the Democrat liberal corporate-owned media. They try to trick you into thinking one party is fascist and one party isn't, so it keeps you inside that system thinking someone's actually fighting for you. There is nobody fighting for you inside the government of the United States, and that's what just got revealed when the lefty squad completely rolled over and became war pigs. So if you're a lefty, you're supposed to at least be against war. They're the biggest war pigs in the world, and they'll never stand up against the establishment to stick up for the people who got them there. So I know that's a long answer, and I know it started with what's wrong with policing in America, but what's wrong with policing in America is a symptom of what's wrong with America, is that we live in a 100% completely corrupt country where the gears of the government only work if it's lubricated with corruption, which is why we can send $100 billion at the snap of a finger to the most corrupt country in Europe, while we won't send $100 billion to fix homelessness in America.
Bruh. bruh, bruh. Mic drop. It's over, bro. It's over, dog. And this is the consciousness that is arising in the United States. Now you have your conservative strain of it. Obviously, you have your left strain of it. I definitely think you have your like little wing where you have like the communists and the socialists bubbling of that, like the true communists and socialists, you know, people like CPI and things like that, and others as well. But that is the consciousness that is rising in America, and having somebody like Jimmy Dore pushing this message out there is nothing but beneficial for the people. And by the way, that like you'll see Majority Report, you'll see all the same, the usual suspects, TYT, all these people, you know, call like Jimmy's a libertarian now, but here he is advocating for Medicare for all, free education, ending homeless, like. And I'm not saying because conservatives aren't for those things, because we know according to polling that they are. That they are. But this bullshit duopoly in both our politics and our media creates this false divide where people are just arguing about stupid shit. Like I just saw the video where Trump's talking about banning like trans surgeries or whatever or some shit. And no, I have no pony in the race. You know, I don't care. Like I'm gonna just keep it. I don't care about this, bro. I really don't. This is like that is virtue signaling to me, where it's like if Trump would do himself a favor if he got away from the culture war and focused on the issues that got him elected. When Trump was running, bro, go look on my TikTok. I have a video there where Trump was talking about Medicare for all, bro. Trump was advocating for Medicare for all, like in the past, like the early 2000s, all the way up to 2016. Why don't play me like that? I don't hate trans people, bro. Don't play me like that. Don't do me like that. But nah. So it's like, you know, Trump would do himself a favor if he focused on the issues that if Trump said that, he will win in a heartbeat, bro. There's nobody that would beat him. But unfortunately, you know, that's not what he's sticking to. But I'm glad that we have people like Jimmy Dore out there pushing this message out there. I will continue pushing this message out here, bro. Like Ukraine is one of, not even just in Europe, Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the fucking world. Like people don't people don't realize this. He's the most corrupt. They're one of the most corrupt countries in the fucking world. Bro, that's what I've been saying, bro. If Trump pushed through Medicare for all, bro, during COVID, nigga, they would literally they would have to unalive him. I'll say that. I'm not saying that I want that to happen. I'm saying if he passed Medicare for all, bro, they will unalive him. There was a couple things he could have did where they would have unalived him. That's why I think he'd be watching his words, because he ain't trying to go to Dallas. Bro, we can stop Josh makes a great point here. We can talk about this when you come on, bro. We can stop illegals if we lowered the cost of actually being a legal citizen. That, or stop bombing their countries. Leave them the fuck alone. That's easier. I mean, obviously lower the cost of living here for us, but yeah, like stop bombing their countries. Well, it's that, bro. It's really that simple. Like, and I'm probably gonna bring this up when we go on the panel, Josh. But you know, you're seeing like a lot. I never noticed this. Like I've seen people talk about it, but black people talk about it, but not as much as they are now, especially on like the FBA circles, like the Friedmans and Adolfs and all them. But you know, they're very on board with Trump's immigration policies, and I can understand why. I was watching a video where there was a bunch of black people from Chicago that was protesting them bringing illegal immigrants to Chicago. And look, hearing how a lot of them talk about black Americans, bro, I can't disagree with that sentiment. I'm gonna keep it a beam with you. So to all my Latino people out there, you know, my Hispanics out there, like, just listen to me before you start raging at the computer or whatever. Like, some of y'all motherfuckers be coming over here shitting on black people, bro. It's straight like that. I'm gonna just keep it a beam. I actually have this video on my phone. I'm about to send it to my hard drive so I could play it for y'all, because this is like a lot of the shit that I be seeing that black people be seeing and experiencing from other communities. And I'm not just singling out the Hispanic community, it's from other groups too. The LGBTQ group, the Jewish community, the Hispanic community. Like, bro, a lot and a lot of black people don't fuck with these communities because of that, bro. And I'm just pointing out what a lot of black people are saying and feeling right now. Let me find this because I want y'all to see this. So y'all, because I don't want y'all to think I'm just saying shit and just blowing blowing smoke up y'all asses. Like I'm not lying to y'all right now. Like I'm not just making shit up. I'm about to send it to my my Google Drive if I can. Because I want y'all to see it, to actually, because when you see it, you feel me? It's different than just hearing somebody saying it. I uploaded it to the wrong folder, but fuck it. We gonna rock out. Let me see if I can pull it up. It may take a minute to load, so I may move into the next story. And while it loads up, let me see. Here we go. Here it is. I got it. So I need y'all to understand where you have Black Americans and especially African descendants of slaves, like Black people, that are descendants of slaves. We've been here since the beginning of this country, 1619. When we make an argument for reparations, for us being wronged by the government and that wrong never being righted, that's one of the main points of contention and the main point of this video I'm about to show y'all. You always get even from Black immigrants, bro. That's why, like, a lot of ADOS, if you talk to like a lot of ADOS and FBA, they're extremely like against like the especially Pan-Africanism within like the Black American community. But they definitely they don't even fuck with the Black immigrants because they feel that Black immigrants say this same type of shit that I'm about to show y'all right now. And look, like I said, seeing it and like hearing them out and actually listening to them, I can't say I disagree. So give me one. I'm about to pull this joint up right now. I'm gonna share my whole screen so y'all can, because it won't let me. Let me make sure I can hop on my phone and watch it, because y'all know. All right, bet. So peep this. This is the type of shit Black people be saying every day, bro. I know some of y'all seen this too.
Newsom in California wants to hand out $500 billion in reparations.
Over 40% of the population in California is Latino. You're having people who are the object of persecution pay for the reparations of people who just don't want to work. California is home to over 11 million immigrants from all over the world, not just Latinos. Immigrants who came here with less than nothing, not being able to speak English, who managed to build their wealth without leeching off of other Americans. Up until 1848, California belonged to Mexico. Slavery ended in 1860. There was only over 1,500 slaves in California, and their only job was mining. They didn't build California at all. If you look at any construction working team in California, mostly Latinos. Slaves didn't build California. Free people with dreams did. Not to mention that Latinos are part Native American, which they were slaves as well, and massacred at 90% of the population. This is probably the most ridiculous bill that Democrats have tried to pass. All Latinos want is citizenship and the ability to work in America. While you have Americans trying to live off the tax dollars of Latinos who are still persecuted in America to this day.
That shit right there. That type of shit right there, bro. That's what be making niggas mad as shit, bro. Talking about leeching off. Bitch, where are the originals? We built this shit, bro. And even like where she's talking about California, like there weren't that many slaves or da-da-da. Bro, there are literally buildings in Los Angeles that were built by fucking slaves, bro. That used slave labor. And even after Los Angeles banned slavery, they were still dealing under the table in slavery, because who was predominant in California and the West at that point? The Mormons, and the Mormons were into slavery. So they would pay off politicians and judges to look the other way as they brought slaves in to do slave labor in Los Angeles, specifically in California. So like her point there is factually incorrect, bro. And that's what I'm saying. And then on top of that, let's keep it all the way a bean, bro. Let's keep it all the way a bean. I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all right now. She's talk like they talk about all the time when a black person gets shot by the police. Oh, he should have just complied. He shouldn't have broke the law. This, that, and the third. She literally wants people that aren't even fucking American, that are here illegally. They are literally breaking the law being here. She wants them to get fair, equal treatment under America and get all the benefits and provisions of being here in America that black people don't even fucking get in this country, bro. And that's one of the things those people in Chicago were protesting, is that, yo, you got homeless people all over here in fucking Chicago, and you setting up these people coming over illegally in hotels and shit. And black people are seeing this shit. And again, this isn't an attack on immigrants. This is saying we really need to look at the systems that create, like, people want to talk about how America is dividing us, but they don't want to talk about the real aspects that people are experiencing within that division, the real feelings and vitriol that people have because of that division. Nobody wants to address that. They just want everybody to hold hands and sing kumbaya when different groups have their issues. If you don't rectify those issues, you can't be calling for this kumbaya shit. That's just straight up what it is, bro. If you're not going to honestly address the issues of people, and especially black people, black Americans, then fuck out of here with that shit. That's how I feel. I know I went on like a whole little side tangent and everything, but like that's something that's been on my mind a lot, because I see a lot of people saying this shit like, we need to come together as Americans. Bitch, we don't feel American right now. Oh, bro, black people are under attack right now, bro. It's crazy. It's spooky out here for black people right now, bro. It is spooky out here for black people right now. And you got these motherfuckers running around talking about, oh, you know, we're post-racial, you know, we need to come together and fight the oligarchs. Like bitch, we black people been knowing what's up with oligarchs. We didn't use that terminology, but nigga, that's how when I hear people talking about the World Economic Forum shit and everything, I'm like, and when I hear them explain it, and don't take this as me saying I don't believe, like I know what those niggas are doing. However, I've heard things at my kitchen table, like conspiracies at my kitchen table, that sound worse than that. What y'all talking about? Bro, like we black people been knew what's up with this shit, bro. Black people been knew what's up with this shit. All of our people disappearing and shit. They come back with their eyes cut out, organs missing and shit. Bro, we've been known this shit. We've been trying to put y'all niggas on, but y'all was living sweet and y'all ain't want to hear that shit. But now that they doing it to y'all, and especially to white people, that's when we supposed to listen, bruh. That's why I can't get mad at the black person that says thoughts and prayers. I can't get mad at the black people that say that, bro. I cannot get mad at them. Can't get mad at them. So that's where it's like, you know, we need to have these real conversations and actually like hash out, you know, what's good. Because again, like I said, whenever black people join hands and do this kumbaya shit, we always get left out in the cold and everybody else eating until they plate get taken from them. So, but great segments from Jimmy Dore. I think Jimmy Dore is a voice that we need to be, that needs to be heard, that needs to be out there, which is why I did these segments. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about this Ilhan Omar shit, bro. Honestly, I can't lie, bro. If there wasn't the context between the context of why this shit was happening, why she was removed, and we're gonna talk about all of Ilhan Omar right now. I have a Gray Zone article that we're gonna skim through as well, but we're gonna talk about this shit, and then we're gonna make fun of AOC a little bit too, because I'm like, Lord in heaven, please, if there is a God, which I don't think there is, but I mean, yeah, Tariq was right. Tariq be on some bullshit though. Tariq Nasheed be on some bullshit sometimes. But yeah, it is hold your nut season. Real shit, G shit, bro. It is hold your nut season. That's what time is looking like right now, bro. That's what time it's really looking like right now. So, but whew, bro. The Jedi strike again, bro. We gonna get into this shit. We really gonna get into this shit. So, as a lot of you know, Ilhan Omar was removed. House passed a resolution. They passed a resolution to remove Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. The Republican-led House of Representatives voted on Thursday to pass a resolution to remove Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar from the powerful House Foreign Affairs Committee. I think they also removed Swalwell and Schiff, which I'm okay with Schiff and Swalwell, honestly, especially Schiff. Like, we all know what's up with Schiff. So, but House Republicans have argued Omar should not serve. This is crazy, bro. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, they're using." Max Blumenthal actually had this shit right. I might pull his tweet up actually. Let me pull his tweet up because Max Blumenthal had it right, bro. He had it pegged perfectly. Facts Blumenthal, bro. That's all I say, dog. Facts Blumenthal. Let me find his shit. We'll probably go a little bit further than Max will. That's okay. That's good. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm gonna keep you already know. I'm gonna keep it a bean. You already know how I'm gonna say it. Let me find this shit though. Ooh, I might read through this article too. Max posted this article from the Black Agenda Report. Hang on one second. I want to find this tweet he did put out though. Okay, we'll make fun of AOC too at this point. But let's continue with this one. And this shit is hilarious, bro. House Republicans have argued Omar should not serve on the committee in light of past statements she has made related to Israel that in some cases been considered by members of both parties as anti-Semitic. How familiar, bro? How familiar? Thou who shall not be named are the most sensitive motherfuckers on the face of the planet. Democrats have criticized the push to oust Omar, arguing it amounts to an act of political revenge, and that the Minnesota Democrat has been held accountable for her past remark, because they definitely did. They hit her with the apologize. They pulled their pants down and everything. Kiss my ass and apologize. The party line vote was 218 to 211. Representative David Joyce of Ohio voted present. Omar was defiant in a floor speech ahead of the vote. My leadership and voice will not be diminished. If I'm not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, she said. Not against Israel, though. It's not. Not against and Max points this out. She didn't even mention Israel. So take your vote or not. I'm here to stay, and I'm here to be a voice against harms around the world and advocate for a better world. We're going to get into that shit. So, yeah, I'm not going to read through that whole article because then they go into like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that shit. I like to call her Mayonnaise Taylor Greene, but it's so, bro. This concept of like the ever-evolving definition of anti-Semitism it continues to astound me, bro. It really continues to astound me. It really does. And you know what's crazy too? This might piss some people off. I don't care. Niggas not even arguing to be treated like how Israel and the Jewish community gets treated. We're not even arguing for that. We not even but think about it like this. Think about it like this. Think about it like this. Motherfuckers getting canceled. You got the ADL that goes after people. You just saw what they did to Kyrie and Ye as well. All that shit. You see, like this has been a centuries long thing that's been going on. The whole Abby Martin situation. Israel literally has laws here where if you want to work in America in certain government places, and I think in a lot of government places, you cannot speak out against Israel. If you get caught, you will lose your fucking job. Those are laws on the fucking book, bruh. Niggas is not even asking for that. Think about that. Black people are not even asking for that. Like police brutality as one. Black people are literally just saying, like, yo, this is something that can help all of us. Something that's not, that shouldn't, police brutality shouldn't be a black issue. It's not a black issue. This is a everybody issue. So we're not even asking for shit specific to us. We asking for shit for everybody. And we get spit on and called woke. That's the thing now, woke. Whenever you talk about niggas, paraplegic people getting shot, woke. Good Lord. We're not even asking for this type of treatment, bro. That's the crazy part. That's what's crazy to me. But Max Blumenthal made this point. Let's watch. Well, first let's watch the video, then read his point. Because we're gonna make
Representative Ocasio-Cortez.
All right,
The
just
gentlewoman
1
is
minute.
recognized
Let's
for
go.
1 minute.
Thank you. Now, as a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party.
And I want to address what she's saying right there, because while what she's saying is true, that is clearly not the case anymore. Because if you guys were paying attention to the race in Detroit, I think, in Michigan, what was Shorty's name? Hang on 1 second, because I forgot what was Shorty's name. Tudor Dixon. Tudor Dixon was the Republican candidate for to try and take out Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan as governor. The Republican Party, like via her, were making alignments with Muslims in Michigan, because Muslim, they feel, and I don't agree with this, but like the whole Dearborn situation, you had Muslims like protesting like gender studies being taught in schools and everything. I didn't pay attention to it. It just seemed like stupid ass like religious shit. I don't fuck with that shit. So, but I respect Islam, and I respect other people's rights to freedom. I actually like, if I were myself to practice a religion, I would choose Islam over fucking Christianity, because Christianity is fucking stupid. But I'm not a religious person though, but still, regardless, they were making alliances with Islamic people. So with Muslims, so that's for the most part, because you still have your like what's her face and Coulters out there, your Laura Ingrams and everything like that. But for the most part, like, you're not seeing that. You're actually seeing Republicans forming alliances with Muslims now, based upon their social conservative stances. So that right there, I'm going to nip that in the bud. Like, again, this goes into my point again. Like, Republicans are so anti-black. They've literally been demonizing, but they were demonizing Muslims all through the 9/11 era and the war on terrorism era. They are literally turning around and saying, come on in, we'll take y'all. Yeah, come on. And niggas like, no, stay out there, darky. Bro, literally, they are making social concessions and actual, concessions to Muslims. We can't even get these motherfuckers to agree on police brutality that kills white people. Unreal. So I wanted to bring that point up, because I think that's a point that nobody even knows about or is even looking at, that I was noticing. I'm like, this is crazy, because I saw Samira Khan tweeting about her done. I saw her tweeting about it and everything. So I just found that shit astounding, bro. That shit was so astounding to me. Thanks, man. Thanks for pulling up. Yeah. Hopefully I'll try and get Caleb on soon, man. I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I would like to just touch base and have him on again. Maybe on the stream, not so much as formal, as the Tox Talk podcast, so just some, more of a chill thing. So maybe I'll reach out to him about that. So, but yeah, thanks for being here. I'm glad you're here. So continuing, but and again, I'm not trying to make this just a racial thing, but I'm saying from my perspective, being black, seeing the needs of my community not being met, but certain needs. And I'm not saying like, they're catering hand and foot, to they're clearly virtue signaling to these people, but at the same time, niggas ain't even getting that, bro. But I just wanted to bring that point up, because I thought it was something that should have been highlighted in what she's saying. But oh my god, the show, the show, it's on the channel. It's on the channel. Just go. I have it as a playlist, the Talks Talk playlist. Just go on the channel and go to my playlist, and you should see it there. And I keep the episodes on there. I'm actually yeah, I'm planning on. I'm gonna go there because my mom lives in DC, so I'm gonna try and get there and go. I just don't know if I can make it to the actual like Rage Against the Machine protest because I think I have work that specific day. But we'll see. I'm gonna try and see if I can make it work. But I'm definitely gonna try and get down there. But yeah, Chris as well. Yeah, so go to my playlist on my channel and you'll see the Talks Talk playlist. I'm actually working on trying to get it. I'm going to go through and backlog it because I have the playlist is on Spotify too. It's on Spotify. Just Google Talks Talk and it's on Spotify. So, but yeah, so it's on the YouTube channel, like the videos are, and then there's audio on Talks Talk as well for a certain amount of all the episodes aren't on Spotify yet. I have to set aside the time to actually go and backlog everything and get it uploaded. So, but let's get back into this fuckery with AOC. It didn't even get good yet.
Parties continue to attack, except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes.
Bitch, you voted to fund Nazis. Hold up. This the same John that voted to fund Nazis in Ukraine. So you can get mad. Ma'am, this is hey, yo, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. This is a Wendy's. Oh, Lord, this is a Wendy's. Oh my god, that's funny as shit. AG, you're funny as shit, bro. You are funny as shit, bro. But bitch, didn't you and your homegirls, your squad, didn't y'all just vote to fund Nazis in Ukraine? And the woman you're criticizing for talking about Jewish space lasers and shit, wasn't she the one criticizing y'all for that? And wasn't she like just like, I don't know, like standing against that? Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be sending money to Nazis in Ukraine. Wasn't that, huh? You see the upside down world we live in, bro? Good Lord, bro. Good Lord. This is crazy. But look at her posture, the tone of her. She's trying like this, like, I don't know what the fuck is she's doing right now, bro.
And also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the...
Bruh. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes right there. This is about targeting women of color. No, bitch. No, bitch. And you notice she ain't say shit about Israel yet. And Max Blumenthal's we're gonna read his tweet, but she ain't say shit about Israel yet. Which is the crux of why they got rid of her. And I think the Republicans are pussy for that. But we all know the Republicans, they like to get bent by Israel. We already know what's up. We already know Netanyahu be fucking bending that back. So good Lord, bro. Good Lord. We already know fucking the Republicans be like fucking popping that pussy for Israel, bro. You ever seen that video with Ted Cruz? He was thanking Netanyahu for their defense. Popping that pussy. Bro, I thought Ted Cruz was about to start twerking in front of Netanyahu, bro. Bro, that ass. I thought this nigga was gonna start twerking in front of this nigga, bro. Like Netanyahu's gonna be like, "Good Lord, Ted, I did not know you could do that." Yeah, I can do that. Oh my god, that is funny as shit, bro. I make myself laugh sometimes. I don't know why. I just do. But yeah, you notice she ain't say fucking shit about Israel yet, cause she knows what's gonna happen. She knows, bro. There's certain people, because Ilhan Omar learned, and you saw her. She got that act right quick, bro. She got that act right quick. These are not the robots you're looking for. That's what's gonna happen to AOC. This is not the congresswoman you're looking for, bitch. Y'all ever seen the last Airbender episode when they went to Ba Sing Se and they switched out the they switched out the Judy bitch? That's gonna be AOC, bro. They're gonna be like, wait, you're not AOC. Hi, I am AOC here to welcome you to Ba Sing Se. Wait, you're not the AOC we saw originally. Say shit about Israel, bitch. You gonna get Judi'd. Bro, say something. Good Lord, bro. I swear, bro. Israel, fucking APAC niggas. Them niggas is Debo, bro. Them niggas is Debo. There are no Nazis in Ba Sing Se. Yeah. Hold on, wait. There are no Nazis in Ba Sing Se. AOC, she started talking stupid. She gonna get Judi'd. That's why she ain't say shit about Israel yet.
In the United States of America. Don't
Look at bitch. I fucking hate, bro. I fucking hate Jamal Bowman with a passion, bro. Jamal Bowman looked like every nigga in the Tyler Perry film that get caught cheating on his wife, bro. He looked like the nigga from Diary of a Mad Black Woman, bro. I hate that nigga, bro. Hate is a strong word. I fucking hate Jamal Bowman's bitch ass. And we already know his bitch ass ain't gonna talk about Israel. We already know.
tell me because I didn't get a single
Time has
apology
expired.
when my life was threatened. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, bitch. Yes. Yeah, no. Because Max Blumenthal, Ilhan Omar wasn't stripped from committee because she was a woman of color. The GOP ran a Somali woman against her. She was targeted for the same reason Corbyn was in the UK. The Israel lobbies Benjamins. No mention of this or Palestine by AOC and the squad. And we all fucking know why. If you got a shred of intelligence in your brain, like it, nigga, if you could draw fucking stick figures, bro, you know why. You fucking know why. These are not the Benjamins you're looking for. These are not the robots you're looking for. The Jedi work in mysterious ways, bro. That's all I gotta say. Like we saw, like regardless of how you feel about Kyrie and what he said, or not even what he said, just think about this shit. They got Kyrie yeeted. He ain't even say shit, bro. He literally tweeted some shit or Instagram storied some shit. He ain't even say shit. This is not the Kyrie. They brought Steph Curry out there and thought we wasn't going to realize that wasn't Curry. That wasn't Kyrie Irving. This is not the Kyrie you were looking for. Good Lord, bro. Good Lord. This shit is crazy, bro. And it's like, again, like I'm saying, I'm going to harp on this point. Niggas not even asking for this type of treatment, bro. Black Americans not even asking for that. We just saying, bro, stop killing us. Like, it'll help you too. And they're like, no, fuck you, darky. No, blue lives matter. White lives matter. My thing is, where was white lives matter when it came to Schaefer? Where was white lives matter when it came to Hunter Britton? Where was white lives matter when it came to all of these slew of white people that have got killed by the police? I saw there was a video somebody put up where this guy, he was clearly, you could tell it was this white guy, he was having a mental breakdown or some shit in the highway. He didn't have no gun and they shot and killed him. Shot him right in the fucking head. So it's like, bro, seeing this shit is crazy, bro. This shit is crazy, bro. Yo, Israel is literally Debo, dog. Israel is literally Debo. You walk up, be like, we got like $200, right, Debo? Nah, I got $200. You right. Nah, remember that shit Friday? Remember that shit in Friday when Smokey was like, I won, give me my money. Debo looked at him, I lost. That's AOC. That was Ilhan Omar. So Ilhan Omar, she put out these tweets. Hold on, I think I can find them on Google. I think she deleted them because she's pussy. So let me pull it up because I found it. Ilhan, she tweeted this out. So the store Glenn Greenwald tweeted out, GOP leader Kevin McCarthy threatens punishment for Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib over their criticisms of Israel. It's stunning how much U.S. political leaders spend defending a foreign nation, even if, and it goes on, but she says it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Israel, she tweeted this out. Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them see the evil doings of Israel. How is anything there anti-Semitic? Please let me know. Please let me know. I would like to know. So, and that's the thing. I know this is kind of a touchy subject to get into, but you already know I don't shy away from this shit. We have this, so and I'm going to frame, of course, I'm going to frame this in my way. Whenever, so there's been a big debate about the term woke, right? There's been a big term about that. I saw the argument when black people, when me, people like RBN and everybody was arguing about, you know, the original usage of the word woke and how it came from the black community, and it was a positive term for black people and black liberation movements like the Black Panthers and all this stuff, and even later on in like the hip hop movement, you know, being woke and being into Pan-Africanism, being woke, things like that. You had liberal white people take it and use it for their fucking struggle, as they always do. And then the conservatives came along and took it and made it a negative and made it into what it is now, basically. CJ on RBN actually did a great video breaking down like the history of the word more so than I did, but that's just a gist, the overall gist. It may not be point for point, beat for beat exactly, but the overall gist. All right, bet. So we're allowed to take terms from black people, right? And use it however we want to. And black people, and no matter what, oh, it's a word now, you know, it's just a word, let it go, this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, you have another group that uses the term anti-Semitic, right? That uses this term, and this shit might get me kicked off, y'all. So if y'all see the stream drop, you already know what happened. You already know what happened. You have a term anti-Semitic where the definition of that term changes all the time, bro. They even use it to go after other Jewish people, bro, that criticize Israel. They use it against other. They did it against Bernie Sanders, bro. They did it. They use it. They even use it against other Jewish people. But this ever expanding, you know, this ever changing definition. So conservatives and Republicans, their whole thing with the trans movement and everything. Republicans being woke. No, well, Ethan Force, I'm talking about woke in the terms of like Republicans use it and conservatives overall use it as a term, as a negative term to describe certain people, right? That we, you know who they're describing when you say woke. But here you have a group that is constantly changing the definition of this word, basically to mean anybody who criticizes Israel. Anybody who, you know, who criticizes negative elements within the Jewish community. Like so in New York, I was reading a story about this. In New York, so you know how black people have been screaming about abolish the police, we need community policing and things like that, blah, blah, blah. The Jewish community has that shit in New York, bro. They have that shit in New York. Let me pull up this article. This shit blew my mind when I found out about this, bro. And I'm kind of going off script here, but Wikipedia is not the best site, but because New York Times had an article talking about it, but I'm not paying for New York Times to read their fucking shitty ass articles, so fuck them. So I'm just going to use Wikipedia for now. I know it's not the best resource, but still. This shit blew my fucking mind, bro. They're called the Shamrim. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's like a neighborhood watch group, but they effectively act like police, basically. And it's Jewish civilian patrols, bro. And they're set up in these like Hasidic Jewish communities and everything. But I found this shit wow, because this is exactly what niggas is talking about in terms of policing our own communities. Our Shamrim or Shemra are organizations of proactive volunteer Jewish civilian patrols, which have been set up in Haredi communities and neighborhoods across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom, among other countries, to combat burglary, vandalism, mugging, assault, domestic violence, nuisance crimes, and anti-Semitic attacks. To help and support victims of crime, they also help locate missing people. This shit blew my mind when I found out about this, bro. And we're gonna get back on topic to Ilhan Omar, but so you just I wanted to highlight to bring that up though, but going back to the anti-Semitic term because it popped up there as well. You have this group that has this constantly evolving term for this word and things like that, right? Where it's like anything that they deem goes against, their community or goes against Israel, whatever the fuck it is, that's anti-Semitic. And they're literally using this to take down a congresswoman now, regardless of whether you like Ilhan Omar or not. This is not a defense of Ilhan Omar. This is talking about the power that Israel has over our fucking government. So, and this kind of ties into the story that I think it's our next story. Let me check my notes to make sure. Yeah, it does tie into the next story. But they're using this to take down a congresswoman to get her removed off a committee. That shit is wild to me, bro. That shit is wild to me. But you'll have literally liberal, even Democrats and Republicans and conservative people overall that say the most fucking racist shit about black people, nothing. But as soon as you point out corruption amongst the Israeli government, you can talk about Ukraine all day. You feel me? You'll get ostracized if you're online. You'll get censored and things like that. God forbid. Let Zelensky come out and start talking shit about Israel and see what happens to that nigga, bro. And Zelensky's Jewish, as they like to tell us. See what happens to that nigga. Oh, this shit is crazy, bro. I just found this shit so crazy. But while the reasoning and framing they're using for taking down Ilhan Omar and getting her out of this committee, I can't say I necessarily disagree. So I might cover this article another day. So I'm gonna just bookmark this article. So the committee that Ilhan Omar was on, oh guys, hang on. I'm going to take a quick break because I have to use the bathroom. And I will be back. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that, but you know the saying, when you gotta go, you gotta go. But continuing with this Ilhan Omar story. So while I pointed out, my points of contention about this, like the framing that they used to remove her from this committee, I don't feel bad for her at all. I don't feel bad for her. I'm not saying this is the if it was for reasonings, if McCarthy made reasonings like he did, like legit reasons with Adam Schiff, and I don't think they're so legit with Swalwell, but regardless, then I would be okay with this. But the reasoning why, I can't rock with that. But at the same time, it's like I'm not mad about her being taken off, because she's not being taken off because she's anti, the imperialist agenda. She's pro the imperialist agenda. And how do we know this? From this article by the Gray Zone. This is by Ann Garrison. Let me change the framing on here real quick. There we go. So y'all can see the article a little better. All right. Ilhan Omar's meddling in Horn of Africa. And this is just part of it. Obviously, we know about her, her stances on Ukraine, her stances on China, Russia, all that. But like this is from her own fucking people. Framed by Republican media as a backlash against Ilhan Omar's woke politics, the boos of a Somali American crowd expressed growing anger over the Congresswoman's role in U.S. meddling in the Horn of Africa. Ilhan Omar was greeted with vigorous booing during a July 2nd concert featuring Somali singer Sultan Sirar in Minneapolis. The booing was so profound and so sustained that it was impossible to mistake it for cheering or all the thumbs down for thumbs up. It reportedly went on for 10 minutes or more, punctuated with "get out" and "get the fuck out of here." Ilhan smiled, gesturing at the crowd to tamp it down, as though the adulation was just too much. Too much. Her husband, Tim Minnett, stood at her side, looking awkward and confused. Then someone who seemed to be a concert manager gestured at the crowd more empathetically to tamp it down. Some say the booing went on even longer while Ilhan went through the process of presenting Sultan Sarir with some sort of award. The singer shifted uneasily from one leg to another, seeming startled and unsure what to do, then reached out to gesture at the crowd, also asking them to tone down their gestures of disapproval. This seemed to be more than he had bargained for when he agreed to share the stage with the Congresswoman. Let's watch the video. Hey, yo, he's like, yo. She's like, guys, I know I'm full of shit, but please calm down. Yeah, so clearly they love her. Sarar is extremely popular in the Somali community. Was playing to a packed house. He's unaccustomed to booze. This was his first concert in North America, and he's likely unfamiliar with Ilhan's record in the House and on the Foreign Affairs Committee's subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Global Human Rights, where she serves as vice chair. Karen Bass currently chairs the subcommittee and vice chairs the National Endowment for Democracy. the regime change wing of the U.S. government, and is all but certain to become the next mayor of Los Angeles come November, which I think she did. Ilhan, an African immigrant and the only black person on the subcommittee besides Bass, is a shoo-in to become chair if Democrats hold on to the House, unlikely as that may seem, and that prediction came to be true. Many Africans shudder at that thought. However, not only in Somalia, her country of origin, and the rest of the Horn of Africa, but also in the African Great Lakes region and in diasporas from both regions. When I organized a Twitter space discussion with Somali American activists on Ilhan's record, I heard an outpouring of anger, not only over her perceived neglect of her district, where violent crime is surging, but also over her role in the removal of Somali President Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed. I think that's how you say that. And for support for a candidate affiliated with her personal clan. This was but one of examples of the Congresswoman's role in advancing U.S. meddling in the Horn of Africa. So this is all fascinating stuff. I'm going to drop this article down below because this is a long article. I'm not going to read through the whole article. Like, we're going to be here forever. But I'm going to drop the link for the article in the chat right now. I'm just going to skim through certain parts that I found interesting because, again, like I said, although I don't agree with the reasonings they gave for why they removed her, I can't be too mad about it because of shit like this. So I just dropped it in the chat down below, guys. If you're on Twitch or YouTube, go ahead and so you can read the whole article. But I found this section here interesting though. And I think it could be beneficial. Let me see how long the Twitter space is.
Thank you so much.
That was 45 minutes, but there was this one right here. Where's it at? Here it is. Ilhan Omar backs Cold War style measure to bully African nations into submission. On April 27th, Ilhan voted to pass H.R. 7311, Countering Malign Russian Activities in Africa Act, along with all the rest of the House Democrats and all but 9 Republicans. H.R. 7311 directs the executive branch to bully African nations with sanctions and withdrawal of foreign aid if they choose if they get too close to Russia, and invest in and engage or otherwise control strategic sectors in Africa, such as mining and other forms of natural resource exploitation. The House passed H.R. 7311 roughly 2 months after 17 African countries either voted to abstain or did not vote on a UN resolution condemning Russia for invading Ukraine, and Eritrea dared to vote no. The African states voting no comprised just over half of the 35 UN member nations that opposed the measure. House Resolution 6600, a harshly punitive bill that would sanction Ethiopia and Eritrea, is now pending in the House Foreign Relations Committee. According to Ilhan's constituents, she has not spoken out against it, although she did make a splash by voting against the embargo on Russian oil. Let's check this video out.
I wanted to ask, when will the secretary complete the legal review of atrocity designation in regards to Ethiopia? We've been waiting for months.
As I have discussed here today, our primary focus has been on trying to engage diplomatically in the many ways that are available to us to reach an end to the conflict, which would obviously result in an immediate end of the atrocities. And so we have decided to refrain at the current moment from making a public determination in order to allow space and time to see if the talks that are currently underway can make progress. But I want you to know that we have undergone an active and dynamic determination process. It's ongoing as we continue to assess emerging reports of human rights violations and abuses, and we remain committed to seeing what we can do to address the current elements that have caused all of us such concern. We have also engaged Facebook and Twitter. I've spoken here today to ask the diaspora to consider how it discusses the situation. And we are quite concerned as well by hate speech by the government and other elites in Ethiopia. And I think we need to call on everyone to do better to address that situation.
Thank you. There's also increasing reports that the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, China, Iran are arming the Ethiopian.
So that sounds to me, which that white lady just said, like they want to censor Ethiopians on Twitter because we know what's up with the Twitter files and everything. Although I'm not 100% because I see the actual documents, but whatever. Like they want to send like Barry Weiss and her reporting was like making a case of if you're going to censor Trump, you should censor all of the politicians or all of the foreign leaders from countries that I don't like and are against Israel. Basically, that's what that sounded like to me, and it sounds like Ilhan Omar is about to say some fuck shit here too. So let's see this.
Ethiopian government with drones and other weapons. Isn't it time?
Wait, what
Arab
did she say?
Emirates, Turkey, China, Iran are arming the Ethiopian government with drones and other weapons. Isn't it time to be pushing for an arms embargo? And in the meantime, shouldn't we pushing our allies to stop arming Abiy's government?
Absolutely, the issue of arms supplies to Ethiopia is a component of our diplomacy with regional and international allies. And the issue of an arms embargo is one of the many elements of the discussion taking place in New York in the Security Council.
There's also mass migration that is happening in Ethiopia. Millions of people have been displaced. It's contributing to the crisis that's taking place in.
All right, so I'm gonna stop because this is a lot. So I've been actually researching this specific thing a lot. I've been watching. What is her name? It's this. I think she's an Ethiopian lady. She's an Ethiopian immigrant. She's part of the Ethiopian diaspora, but she's been going on Jimmy Dore's show a lot. So I just find that I just find this interesting. Again, like her own people don't really fuck with her. They don't want her in office. Like black people from Ethiopia actually like they don't want nothing to do with her. So it's just crazy that like she even when she's following the like you saw her speaking against Iran there, something that Israel like she changed like when Israel first came after her, when AIPAC first came after her, she changed her tune quick. Again, there are no Benjamins in Ba Sing Se. there are no Benjamins in Ba Sing Se. So she changed her tune quick, shitting on Iran all the time, blah, this, that, and the third. So like I said, this is a situation where I think that again the reasoning they used to get rid of her is fucking dog shit, but I'm not mad about it. So we will leave it there and move on to the next story where Caleb Maupin, you're up, bro. Not actually, he's not actually coming on the show, but we're going to be covering one of his segments that he did on RT that I found interesting. So a lot of you should know at least. Yeah, we might react to this Richard Medhurst video. I might save that for me and Josh to react to, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna say that for us to react to. But a lot of they're having conversations right now about banning TikTok because of the the Chinese Communist Party is using it to mine data, but we're not going to talk about how we mine data on American citizens all the time. We're not going to talk about that, but yeah, fuck China because they're collecting data on our fucking citizens. Oh my god. And like I said, I find it so fucking hypocritical because again, the United States spies on not only their own fucking people, but as we're going to talk about, on other fucking countries. So just give me 1 second to pull, make sure I get my stories up, get my story straight. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and watch this video. This Caleb Maupin. This Caleb Maupin, John.
I asked one of my FBI analysts. She emailed me towards the end of the day to say that she couldn't find evidence that we had any additional information to share. She further stated it seems like Maryland and other states with similar bans based their decisions on news reports and other open source information about China in general, not specific to TikTok.
The social media app known as TikTok has been the subject of a huge amount of scrutiny and alarmism from U.S. officials and media. There has been a claim that this app is somehow used to collect data for Chinese intelligence. It's a threat to the U.S. national security. In December, the U.S. government banned the use of TikTok on federal government employee devices. Now, other U.S. states have followed suit and passed laws regarding government devices issued at the state level. And now it appears that what we've been hearing from U.S. officials, from media, and from other voices in the United States, this claim regarding TikTok and its supposed danger to national security, it's not exactly based in reality. We're hearing that apparently the intelligence agencies didn't have any data on it themselves. They were simply following what was said by open sources and by media reports, but that hasn't stopped them from saying it.
We, the FBI, do have
oh my God. I'm gonna pause it real quick. Oh my God. Good Lord. Lord in heaven. Lord in fucking heaven. Color me shocked. The FBI lying. Color me shocked. Hold up. What Millie say? I can't. Is that like a face? Is that the bruh face? Good Lord. Color me shocked to find out the FBI is lying. Oh my God. Color me shocked. How? Oh, I can't believe what what did he say in Spider-Man 3? What the fuck Toby say in Spider-Man 3 to Brock? I never thought he would do something like that. You're trash, Brock. Color me shocked. Good, man. Good,
about the app. Its parent company is controlled by the Chinese government.
We've been warned repeatedly by our own intelligence agencies that TikTok is a security threat. Heck, the director of the FBI has testified under oath that TikTok poses major security risks.
So I think everyone.
All right. So let's stop this right here. Real quick, and we'll get back to it. Because I'm going to point out this hypocrisy with conservatives and Republicans. Y'all niggas, when it came to Daddy Trump, y'all niggas was just screaming about we can't trust the FBI. The FBI testified under oath and they lied. So now when it comes to going after China, to pushing basically this neo-McCarthyism that the Republican Party is trying to push, you just got it for going on 6 years now with the Democratic Party when it came to the Russians. That's now resulted in this war in Ukraine, where we're now at the brink of World War III with Russia over Ukraine. And this all stems from Russiagate, as you know, as people know, this stems from Russiagate and accusing Donald Trump of being an agent of Putin or somehow being helped by Putin to win the 2016 election. Donald Trump usurped Hillary from becoming Queen of America, and he did it with the fucking Russians. Well, now you have the conservatives pushing their version of that. You have the Republican Party pushing their version of that, which is these fucking Chinese, man. I can't stand these motherfuckers. Good Lord. Fuck them. Oh my God. And no, it's not just Republicans. Democrats agree with this too. We all know Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. Next week, I'm going to be talking about McCarthy's scheduled trip to Taiwan as well. But so Democrats are all on board, and Republicans are on board with Russia too. Don't get it twisted. They're on board with the whole Russia thing too. It's just that you got like a small group that's not, the Freedom Caucus. That's not. But from what I've seen, the Freedom Caucus seems down with China. Let me know if I'm tripping. If there's anything different, they're down with this China war drum beating. But yeah, so now we're going to, again, you cannot pick and choose when you want to trust the FBI. That's not how that fucking works. This is why I was putting this criticism out when they were tweeting out, defund the FBI and all this shit, blah, 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 all this rah-rah they was talking. But now that they going after people you don't like, we're going to trust these niggas now. Bro, stay woke. Stay woke. These niggas want y'all asleep, bro. They think y'all stupid. They really think y'all niggas is stupid. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. They think you're stupid. They really do. But continuing. And Marco Rubio's bitch ass is leading the charge on this, of course.
Everyone agrees they're a privacy danger to America, to our national security. We shouldn't have the Communist Party of China having access to a treasure trove of American data that they can use to try to influence and divide us.
Now, it's certainly got to be.
Now let's think about this. Let's put our thinking hats on, guys. Let's put our thinking hats on. All these conservatives and Republicans are screaming about the Twitter files now, and how the government basically used the Twitter files to, or how the government was using social media platforms to manipulate the American people, basically. That's literally what they're accusing China of doing. We've literally been caught doing this. That's literally what this big culture war is about now. And unfortunately, like genuine topics like this stuff is getting caught in the middle of this culture war that's raging. But this like the Twitter files, the whole crux of that is literally what they're accusing China of doing to Americans. They're accusing a foreign power of doing this to America. Bro, this is peak projection, bro. This is peak projection, bro. This is like, I don't even know what to say. This is like, I can't, bruh. America's unreal, bro. Americans are unfucking real, dog.
Blow to the ego of U.S. officials to see that TikTok, an app that has Chinese origins,
used to try to.
I think oh no, the video's still there.
Influence and divide us.
Now, it's certainly got to be a blow to the ego of U.S. officials to see that TikTok, an app that has Chinese origins, is now the top downloaded app in the world. It's beating Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other U.S.-born apps. Now, many look at the controversy surrounding TikTok and have to smile because it is well known that these U.S.-based applications on social media have a very close relationship with the American government. Facebook has been hit with a number of scandals regarding.
Bro, the whole Democrats' case, the Democrats' whole case is that Facebook. Dog, this shit is crazy, bro.
The violation of the rights of its users' privacy. Just recently, the European Union fined Facebook $414 million for collecting the data of the EU citizens, tricking them into agreeing to data collection that was then used for targeted ad campaigns. But regardless, we continue to have reports from the U.S. government raising the alarm about the dangers of TikTok.
We are not yet awake to this threat. China has spotted an opportunity to dominate this market.
And there they have it. That's the truth right there. That is the truth right there. This is why I tell y'all niggas all the time, bro. This is what I tell y'all. Yeah, I tell y'all this shit all the time. They telling themselves all the time. That's it right there. China has spotted an opportunity to dominate this market. That is what it's about. It's so not necessarily money in this case, but the United States wants spectrum dominance, and that includes in the cyberspace. So there's this big cyber war that, much like a lot of the physical wars, the proxy wars that they're using, is being waged via proxy. So this whole SolarWinds hack that they were talking about that China and Russia did, Iran hacking our presidential elections in 2021, all this nonsense. Like, what people don't realize is, and I think I covered this Vault 7 stuff. Let me see if I still have it in my drive. But I covered the Vault 7. The CIA literally has hacking tools, like the government and all of these tech companies. They have tools where they can literally stage a hack into computer systems. So I don't know all the terminology. My guy Millie Fights, he probably knows all that shit, but they literally had the tools to make a hack look like it came from a foreign country. Where's it at? Here it is right here. I have it right here, actually. Let me pull this shit up. This shit, bro, this shit is fascinating as fuck, bro. I lied to you not. Hold up. We're gonna come back to Caleb in 1 minute. I want to show y'all this though. So y'all can really understand, you know, what our government is doing. So I'm gonna have to zoom in because it's a lot on here. But Marble Framework today, March 31st. This is from WikiLeaks. March 31st, WikiLeaks releases Vault 7 Marble 676 source code files for the CIA's secret anti-forensic Marble framework. Marble is used to hamper forensic investigators and antivirus companies from attributing viruses, Trojans, and hacking attacks to the CIA. Marble does this by hiding, obfuscating text fragments used in CIA malware from visual inspection. This is the digital equivalent of a specialized CIA tool to place covers over the English language text on US produced weapons systems before giving them to insurgents secretly backed by the CIA. Marble forms part of the CIA's anti-forensics approach and CIA's core library of malware code. It is designed to allow for flexible and easy to use obfuscation, as string obfuscation algorithms, especially those that are unique, are often used to link malware to a specific developer or developer shop. The Marble source code also includes a deobfuscator to reverse CIA text obfuscation. Combined with the revealed obfuscation techniques, a pattern or signature emerges which can assist forensic investigators attribute previous hacking attacks and viruses to the CIA. Marble was in use at the CIA during 2016. It reached 1.0 in 2015. The Marble source code shows that Marble has test examples not just in English, but also in Chinese, Russian, Korean, Arabic, and Farsi. This will permit a forensic attribution double game. For example, by pretending that the spoken language of the malware creator was not American English, but Chinese, but then showing attempts to conceal the use of Chinese, drawing forensic investigators even more strongly to the wrong fucking conclusion. I added the fucking part. But there are other possibilities, such as hiding fake error messages. Bruh. And people call me crazy. Bro, that's crazy, right? That's fucking nuts. That is what the government is doing, bro. So whenever you hear these stories about, you know, hacking, the Russians hacked something or the Chinese hacked something, be wary that they're probably fucking lying to you. I'm just telling you straight up. They're probably fucking lying to you. There's like a 85% chance. I'll say 100% chance, but that's just me. I'm going to say y'all do y'all due diligence and fall wherever you are, but I'm going to be generous. There's an 85% chance when they say Russia or China or Iran or any of these countries, bro, North Korea don't even got Wi-Fi and they be saying North Korea be hacking shit, bro. So anytime they tell you niggas is hacking shit, just know it's an 85% chance 85% chance that they're probably fucking lying to you, and you probably shouldn't believe them. I'm 100%. They're 100% lying, and I don't believe a fucking word our government says. That's just me. Some niggas is still asleep. Some niggas isn't woke yet. Some niggas is still asleep. So looking at the the context of this and what Marco Rubio is talking about here is just fucking asinine at best, because it's like, bruh, you're literally you're this is shit that we do, that you do. So let's keep going with the video. I just wanted to share that because I think that was an important important factor to highlight how rich the fucking hypocrisy is.
And if it does so, it can harvest an awful lot of data as well as making foreign countries dependent. It is time to wake up. Free and open countries should ban Chinese manufactured IoT modules from their supply chains as soon as possible.
So they're using this. This is the same. So this is the same way. So how they used Ukraine as a proxy to get Europe to get rid of Russian oil, they're now using this. So if in case y'all don't know, also, let me bring my face back on. So in case y'all didn't know this, China has the largest telecommunications infrastructure in the world. And it's revered as the best in the world, and specifically Huawei. There was actually a couple years ago, the United States illegally detained the CEO of Huawei in Canada and was trying to extradite her to the United States. Basically the same how they were bitching about Russia, what they did to Brittany Griner. That's what they did to the CEO of the top telecommunications company in China, for no reason at all, aside from the fact that we don't like that you're the CEO of the telecommunications company. So, but and China retaliated by taking 2 Canadians, but that's a whole nother story. But so the same way that the United States used Ukraine, they basically bigged up the Ukrainian government. The start talking that rah to Russia and like, yo, we fuck y'all niggas, we ready to go to war. So they pushed Ukraine into the meat grinder as a way to for multiple reasons to in some way, shape, or form, weaken Russia. I don't know how they thought that was going to work, but weaken Russia. But one of the main goals was to detach Europe from Russian fossil fuels, to cut Russia out of the European market when it came to fossil fuels, which they've succeeded at for the most part. Now, this is what they're trying to get Europe to do. So now they literally forced Europe to deindustrialize because of this, because Europe doesn't have the proper fuel that it needs to run its fucking industries. Especially Germany. Germany is known as the heart of Europe with its industrial center. And the United States basically gobbled that up, because all of these European industrial companies are coming over here now to the United States. They're working out deals to come over here. But now they're trying to get Europe to ditch Chinese telecommunications infrastructure. A lot of people in Europe use Huawei phones. A lot of tech companies use Huawei, like Huawei technology and all that shit, and Chinese and other telecommunications tech companies and everything. So now they're trying, this is what they're trying. It's always about money. I tell y'all this shit all the time. Follow the money, bro. Follow the rich white man. I think Chris Tucker said that in Rush Hour, too. He was like, bro, just follow the rich white man and you'll solve the case. Bruh, now these niggas, well, in this case, in Marco Rubio's case, follow the rich Cuban man, the rich Cuban who wants to be white man. Let's say that, the rich Cuban who wants to be white man. But now they want to use this. So for all this talk about big tech, it seems like Marco Rubio is serving big tech right now, because he's trying to use this as a preface to cut China out of Chinese telecommunications companies out of the Western market. I promise you, I think this ban is going to go through. I really think this ban is going to go through on TikTok. I think it's going to go through, because then they're going to use that as a preface. And this weather balloon thing too is going to be used as a preface to say, hey, Europe, look, China's spying on us all. They're collecting our data. And I'm about to get to the hypocrisy of why that's bullshit too, but they're using all this data to spy on us, blah, blah, blah. You guys need to get rid of Chinese telecommunications infrastructure. I promise you that's going to be the next step with the United. Bro, I fucking promise you, bro. And it's going to be, y'all with Taiwan, right? That, bro, I promise you that's going to be. Do not be surprised when you start seeing articles and stories basically talking about how Europe's leaders are considering, getting rid of Chinese telecommunications companies in their. I promise you, bro. Just wait on it. I'm telling you, bro. Like Drake said, the album is coming. Just wait on it, bro. The bullshit is coming. Just wait on it. I'm telling you, bro. Wait on it. I promise you. And come back here, like drop a like. When y'all see, y'all gonna be like, oh, this nigga Bendu was on. I'm telling you, bro. So continuing with this stupid ass motherfuckers, story, because this shit is wild too. And Europe is just sitting back, allowing this to happen, bro. It's getting spooky in Europe right now too. But
now, all of this might be humorous if it did not have such serious implications. TikTok, an application on social media that involves a lot of teenagers dancing, gossip about celebrities, all kinds of silliness, is said to be a big threat to the safety and security of Americans.
And Caleb put it there. He put it he put it differently, but bro, like we're like so China's going to infiltrate the United States on an app where a bunch of sorority females, a bunch of sorority sisters and kids and motherfuckers on TikTok dancing all the time and cooking food. Bruh, miss me with that.
And this concept around the world. Australia is putting mines in its waters, playing up the fear of some kind of possible confrontation with China or Chinese invasion. Citizens in Taiwan are raising the alarm about the fact that they feel that the continued flow of U.S. weapons is escalating things and putting.
So that's what they also don't tell you. The situation between China and Taiwan is a very touchy subject. There's a lot of history behind it that they don't teach you in schools, and that the media is definitely not going to fucking teach you, because the media is bought by the military industrial complex. They are the fifth estate. So um most of the Taiwanese people, it's not that they want to be a part of China. They basically they believe in the one China policy, that they are part of China, but China has been granting them a form, kind of like what they do with Hong Kong. They've been granting them a form of somewhat independence, doing their own thing. All they ask is that you say you're part of China. And that's kind of been what's going on. But the United States is using, as China's economic rise has been coming, the United States has basically been using Taiwan as a wedge issue to stoke tensions, basically, there. And basically spark kind of a similar situation to what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Similar, but not exactly the same, but similar. So that is what they're trying to do. Whereas, it's a whole history behind it. But a lot of the people there in Taiwan don't they don't support independence. Oh, that's something they don't tell you about the fucking people actually in Taiwan. They don't support independence. So, and they got elections coming up, and it's looking like the party in charge that is super pro independence is about to get yeeted. So we'll see how that plays out.
The war in the Taiwan Straits into a new reality. And all of this has very serious implications. Many are concerned about this continued provocation and this continued hysteria that China is somehow a threat and the implications it could have. Now we find out that so much of what we've been hearing about the so-called dangers of TikTok wasn't even coming from verified intelligence sources, but was according to unverified open source claims and U.S. media reports.
There's this competition with China economically and the fear that China will surpass the U.S. Social media represents a rather significant economic sector. The U.S., the officials, the FBI, is using TikTok as a foil to deflect attention away from the fact that the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and other agencies, and the White House itself, is actually infringing on our rights, our rights of free speech, and also our information, our data. So this is really hypocritical, double standard deflection from this fact that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security and Twitter and Facebook have been in bed with each other for all this time and surveilling upon U.S. citizens as they are.
So yeah, that there is, I think that's a small portion of it. That's an important portion of it for us as American citizens. But this is all about money and geopolitics, bro. That's what this is about. This is about money and cutting China out of certain markets, and I think they're trying to cut China out of the telecommunications market in Europe. So, moving into this next part that I have that goes along with this. Give me 1 second. So, like I said, I think they're going to start telling Europe that you have to ban China telecommunications companies from coming in there, and you have to adopt our overpriced telecommunications companies. Kind of similar to what they did with Ukraine and the fossil fuels. If this article will load, hang on 1 second, guys, because this shit don't want to act right now. There we go. Go ahead and share this, John. So they're raising all this hell about China, China this, China that. United States spy agency tapped German chancellery for decades. This is from WikiLeaks. And this is from 2015. This is when Obama was still in office, bro. The U.S. National Security Agency, the NSA, tapped phone calls involving German Chancellor Angela Merkel and her closest advisors for years and spied on the staff of her predecessors, according to WikiLeaks. Now, note, WikiLeaks has a 0%, like they've never put out a story that is false because they're not putting out stories. They're literally putting out the documents of what the governments and the government is saying. And that's why they had to take out Julian Assange and neuter WikiLeaks. If you've been on WikiLeaks lately, they've been removing a lot of pages from WikiLeaks, and niggas been on shush about it, except a couple people. But so all this, and Angela Merkel specifically, because Angela Merkel was pro Nord Stream 2. That was the pipeline that the United States fucking blew up. They tried to say Putin blew up his own fucking pipeline. It's not beneficial for him to do that, but yeah, he blew up his own pipeline. Okay. But she was pro that. She basically told the United States, I don't give a fuck what you say. We're going to put this pipeline in action because it's going to economically benefit our fucking people. Fuck you and fuck off. Now they got this little bitch ass nigga Olaf Scholz in power that is letting the United States run all over him. Basically, he letting the United States fucking clap them cheeks, bro. But continuing, a report released by the group, which is WikiLeaks, suggested NIA spying on Merkel and her staff had gone on far longer and more widely than previously realized. WikiLeaks and the NSA targeted for long-term surveillance 125 phone numbers of top German officials. The release risks renewing tensions between Germany and the United States a month after they sought to put a row over spying behind them, with U.S. President Barack Obama declaring in Bavaria that the two nations were inseparable allies. A German government spokesman said on Thursday Berlin was looking into the latest report and reiterated that such events strained German and American intelligence cooperation. The United States repeated its position that it did not undertake foreign intelligence unless there was a specific and validated national security purpose. So basically, they're saying, look, yeah, we did that shit. Fuck you gonna say about it? We did it for a good reason. State Department spokesman John Kirby said in an email, this applies to ordinary citizens and world leaders alike. Germany is a close friend and partner on a range of issues, and we look forward to continuing and deepening this important relationship, which we've now, we've seen what that looks like with them bending Olaf Scholz over the barrel and showing him the 50 states. Oh my God. Friends and associates of former NSA contractor Edward Snowden have denied he is the source of the latest WikiLeaks revelations, suggesting that they likely came from a different and still unidentified leaker deep inside U.S. intelligence. His friends have said Snowden avoided giving the large tranches of classified documents he downloaded while working at NSA installations to WikiLeaks. I don't know how true this is, but it's a mild point, but still. To WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, even though Assange helped arrange for Snowden's flight to and current exile in Moscow. Like I don't know if Assange even asked him for anything aside from just helping him get to where he needed to go. So they're basically trying to frame it that like, oh, Edward Snowden didn't trust this guy. That's how they're trying to frame it, but I don't think that's the case. I don't even know if Julian was even asking him for shit. So yeah. Continuing, however, some U.S. officials familiar with the latest leak said they were unaware of other leakers and want to believe that one way or another okay, this is all shit. All right, here we go. WikiLeaks published what it said were 3 NSA intercepts of Merkel's conversations and data. It said listed telephone numbers for the chancellor, her aides, her office, and even her fax machine. The names associated with some of the targets indicate that spying on the chancellery predates Angela Merkel, as it includes staff of former Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder in office from 1998 to 2002, and his predecessor Helmut Kohl. WikiLeaks added in a statement, The intercepts detailed communications from Merkel in 2009 on the international financial crisis with the Crown Prince of the UAE in 2009 on Iran and with advisors in 2011 on the Eurozone crisis. The targeted phone numbers included those for the cell phones of senior officials at the Chancellery and included that of Ronald Pofalla, Merkel's former chief of staff, WikiLeaks said. Spying is a sensitive issue in Germany because of the abuses of the Nazi and communist eras. Okay. The Snowden revelations have caused outrage in Germany when they first surfaced. The spying row has also been stirred by allegations that Merkel's staff gave the German BND, Foreign Intelligence Agency, a green light to help the NSA spy on European firms and officials. So there you have it. That is proof that the United States doesn't have allies; it has subjects. So so you see the hypocrisy, right? You see the hypocrisy. Here, y'all motherfuckers is spying on Germany. They were spying on France too. I'm about to show y'all this other article that I actually found it right before I was starting to stream. Well, they must have blown Merkel's back out, considering that she knew Minsk winning. Yeah, that. But I think Merkel was more of an actor for Germany. So I'm not here advocating for Angela Merkel, but she put her foot down on that Nord Stream 2 shit. She was like, "Fuck y'all, yeah, we getting that pipeline, bro. Fuck y'all." So who knows, man? But let's go into this other article. This is peak hypocrisy, bro. This is peak hypocrisy. Macron and Merkel demanded explanations over U.S. Denmark spy claim. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel demanded explanations from the United States. I like trying to properly pronounce Macron's name. It makes me feel bougie, like Macron. Macron. I feel like Craig Dad trying to pronounce shit. You got to coordinate. Macron. How do you say? I want to teach myself French, bro. I want to learn French, Spanish, Russian, and what is it? Mandarin. Those are the languages I want to learn. I know I have a long path ahead of me to learn those languages, but I want to learn it, bro. I do. I really do. But let's continue. Demanded explanations from the United States and Denmark on Monday following reports that Danish intelligence services helped Washington to spy on European politicians. This is not acceptable between allies, even less so between European allies and partners, Macron said at a Franco-German Council of Ministers. Merkel said she agreed with her French counterparts' remarks. Danish public broadcaster Denmark's radio said that between 2012 and 14, the Danish Defense Intelligence Service aided the U.S. National Security Agency to steal data via underwater internet cables. Merkel was among the officials being eavesdropped on, according to the report. This is from fucking 2021. U.S. whistleblower Edward Snowden first alleged that Washington had tapped Merkel's phone in 2013, claim that was not outrightly denied by the U.S. And as the article I just read, you confirmed that. But the new investigation conducted by DR with several European news outlets claims that the NSA accessed text messages and the phone conversations of a number of leading politicians. DR says 9 sources with access to classified information have confirmed the report. Defense Minister Trine Bromsman, who has been on the job since 2019, told DR that systematic eavesdropping of close allies is acceptable. Danish lawmaker Carlson of the left-leaning Socialist People's Party, which is supporting Denmark's socialist democratic government, said on Monday he will quiz the country's defense and justice ministers in parliament about the case. The government must explain what's all this. Yeah, so the rest of but you get the gist, bro. You see the hypocrisy of this shit, bro. This shit is crazy. And again, they have the audacity to talk about China, bro. Y'all are they are spying on everybody around the world. The whole Project Pegasus shit that the Guardian was just talking about, that Whitney Webb has been talking about for years, bro. Whitney Webb has been talking about this shit. Yo, go read Whitney Webb's work, bro. Whitney Webb has been talking about this shit for years. But the fact that Quebec is a French-speaking province again. Okay, Quebec. Oh yeah, I'm fucking stupid. But yeah, so all this fear mongering about TikTok, like I said, I think it's being used as a way to basically get Europe to cut economic ties with China via telecommunications. So we'll see if my theory turns out to be true or not, which I think it's going to turn out to be true. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break, guys. Get the panel set up with my guy Josh. And yeah, I will be right back. Stay tuned. Oh, I still got the music going. Sorry, guys. I figured I'd throw something on other than like the fucking the American Autopsy thing and let y'all get a little lit. I actually made that beat that was playing too. That's the crazy part. But y'all, my guy Joshy is back. Let's go ahead and get into this, John. What's good,
What's
bro?
going on, bro? I do got you in the background, so just let me know if the echo's too bad. But before while I start, I do want to give a shout out to everybody that's been viewing, everybody that your little supporters. Shout out to everybody that I got on my end. I got my boys Dalton and Mike with me right now. We all tuned in. Shout out Kelsey, of course. She stayed up to watch. Appreciate you always. And my main man Keith, I got him up in here watching too. So shit, I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's just get it going. A lot to talk about.
Before we get into the shits, bro, or the shits I got planned. That didn't come out right now that I think about that. What's on your mind, bro? What's on your mind politically?
Politically, man, the same shit. It's the same shit, different
Turn the
day.
TV down a little bit. I can hear the echo a little bit.
Okay, I got you. Same shit, just a different day, man. Everything's still been the same in regards to my thoughts and opinions on the Tyreek Nichols situation. Um, but other than that,
Bro, they just shot
just
a nigga with no legs, bro.
I gotta dig deeper into that situation because I ain't even hear about that at all today. I've been, I gotta read up on everything for today. But now the one thing that you said that struck me was when you were talking about like the white supremacy, how their tools is going, like how you said your pop used to say that their tools always end up running out.
Oh,
But you
white
wanna know the
supremacy
crazy
breaks
thing?
his tools when it's through with him.
Right. And you want to know what's crazy? It's like when it comes to white supremacy and all the tools and resources that they have, they see the thing is like I said the last time I was on here, a lot of African Americans got to get out of that thinking of we gonna go and change the system. We gonna put some elected officials and leaders into these positions and make some magic happen. And I'm a little lit right now, but I'm gonna say it for what it is for the viewers out there. That shit ain't never gonna fucking happen. Because how the fuck you think you gonna go into a system that was built to be against us and think you're gonna change something that you never gonna be able to fully change? Because no matter what you do, you're gonna end up going, you're gonna end up being limited to the change that you can make because the rules are gonna like stop you at some point. It's like you can get 10 steps ahead. We might even let you get 20 steps ahead, but you ain't gonna get to 30.
Yeah, and I see that. I see what you mean by that. My only pushback would be like, look at the Jewish community. Like
But come on.
you talking about, but nah, I'm being real. You're talking
Mhm.
about a group, like anti-Semitism was a prevalent thing in the United States back in the day,
Mhm.
but they finagled their way. I'm not saying do the whole elected officials thing, but it's not about necessarily elected officials. So that's why I agree with you. It's about what Dr. Claude Anderson talks about. It's about black people got to stop being we got to stop being consumers and become producers. And like, unfortunately, because you already know, I abhor this mindset as a communist, a socialist, and Marxist. I abhor this mindset of, when you talk about race, it's exactly what the word says. It is a race, and right now, black people are in last place in that race. So we need
And we've
to,
been in last place.
yeah, and we need to turn the tables in terms of capital, in terms of all of these different things. But all I'm saying is how we organize and structure that capital as a group is what we need to be looking at.
And I
Personally,
think that, and I'm glad you said that because that all boils back down to trying to move as a unit and as one and as a collective. Because a lot of people try to fuel the foundation of new society and a new life off of capitalism, and it's going to sink that way. Capitalism is important, but nothing in this world is as important as having a strong foundation. And if you use something that's always used every day in and day out, to separate people and to separate societies, then your foundation is going to crumble before you even get to really start anything. You got to X out a lot of things out of the equation first because it's going to come when it's needed to come. Just like you making a sandwich, you got to have the top bread and the bottom bread, and everything else goes in the middle. Those are things you just got to take it one step at a time. So I feel like when it comes to progressing forward, a lot of African Americans need to understand and realize that capitalism is not going to be the fuel in this car. At least, not the fuel, but something as important like the oil. And if they get the understanding of that, then things can start to go into a better direction. But like you said before, it ain't even going to happen here. I feel like a lot of blacks need to swallow their pride and take it over there to Mother Africa or somewhere else. More companies that might have a more communist viewpoint or at least more open mindedness and more fairness towards their citizens.
but even there, you do got to be careful with going to because, like, whether we go, like, say, like China or Russia, like,
Hmm.
you're still a minority there. Like,
That
I'm
is
at the
true.
point now where I want to be around my people. I want to be around motherfuckers that look like me and understand my walk of life to some degree.
Hmm.
And it's like, wow, I think China can understand that. Even Russia, to some degree, can understand that perspective, the specific black experience. You feel me? Like, I would probably go to like Cuba before I go to like China or Russia. And that's not a knock to those countries. It's just that I feel like those people, being people of color, not necessarily black, because that's where I'm at right now too. We need to distinguish the difference. We need to reject people of color. Black people need to reject that shit. That's some bullshit. That's a way where, that video I showed of the Spanish shorty.
Hmm.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. We need to get away from that. and I'm not saying shit on those people's movements they got going on. You can be an ally, but always put your shit first, because that's what every other group does with us. Black people put everybody else's movements first, and it's because honestly we're more open culturally. Like, you literally have in some cultures where they don't let you marry outside your race. So we're marrying outside of our race. Like, you get a brother that go and marry a Spanish chick, like, and he letting her raise the kid based upon that culture, as opposed to raising them as a black kid or in black culture, or vice versa, marrying a white woman. Then you get people in the LGBTQ community that puts that community, like, they're gay or trans or bisexual or whatever before they're black. Like, you can be, and that's not me. I'm not of the Umar mindset when it comes to that. I'm saying is you're black first, and remember that. Put your blackness first.
And I feel like that's 100% true. You have to put you first, because the thing is, it's like if you put things in the order of everything has something to do with one another, like how a tree grows, then things are going to be more simpler. Because, like you said, everybody is here for a purpose and a reason. And a lot of when you say that comment, a lot of people might say, "Oh, um, that's like religious standpoint," but it's true, because it's like whoever said that blacks had to go against whites or whites had to go against blacks or any other ethnicities, that's something that they set up, basically a whole entrapment. And that's what a lot of African Americans gotta understand. It's like Jane Goodall said in her experiment that she did on race theory and things like that. And she said that at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says, there's only one race, the human race. But everybody is so in competition with one another to see whose race is more superior, that some of these races out here don't even have to put that out in the forefront that they're more superior, because by them not doing that, and that lets like who does it the most, African Americans, just voice all their frustrations and just say things that don't even align with one another. And next thing you know, as always, we getting looked at like the fools, because we can't just stand back and look outside the box and be like, okay, we might not have all the answers, but let's move as a conglomerate in a unit and figure it out along the way. It
And this
doesn't matter. Mhm.
And I was gonna say, this is a mindset that is more of a product of the colonial era, because when
Mhm.
you look at how, like, for example, when you look at how the ancient Greeks viewed Kemet, for example, which is that's the ancient word for Egypt, but
Mhm.
how they viewed it, Egypt, and yes, Egypt was a black African civilization. You had most of the Greeks going to Egypt to learn mathematics, to learn to learn philosophy, to learn about medicine, all of these things. And they took them and made them, they drew inspiration for their societies and cultures from Egypt. And then as time progressed, ancient Egypt fell and time progressed all the way to the colonial era. Now we attribute all of the things that came from the black African society that was Egypt, we attribute that shit to to the Greeks, like the Pythagorean theorem. There's literally papyrus scrolls out there of the Pythagorean theorem being there, and these scrolls predate Pythagoras himself, the person who created the Pythagorean theorem. They say it does. So that's it right there. Black people, and it shows you even back then, black people are so open to sharing knowledge with other people, to being open with other people, that we put ourselves at a detriment, bro. And I think that's still something that's prevalent within us now. And I'm not saying we need to get rid of that culture completely. Like, we need to become like other groups, that shall remain unnamed, how they hoard knowledge and hoard wealth and things like that. And it's not, I'm not just targeting that group specifically, but all types of groups that do this, even white people. It's like, you know, where was I at? Realizing that, like, I'm not saying, not to, be open and share knowledge with people, but just be wary of this shit and put your grievances and shit first, is all I'm saying.
No, you got to, because you got to take care of yourself first, because that's all you got in this world when you popped out. It's you. And you got to. But I feel like when you take care of yourself and put yourself first, it's going to rub off on other people in your communities and your fellow neighbors and family and colleagues to do the same thing. Because once you put yourself first, you'll end up being able to have the time to put yourself into other situations to help everybody be on one accord and to all make everything happen in a line how it's supposed to. But one thing I want to say too is not to segue off of that, but one of the things that I do want a lot of people out there to understand um is that when it comes to, because as me and you were talking off camera in regards to local politicians and things like that, like a lot of people just let this fly over their heads, but it's really important to know who's running in your local elections, especially if you're in the inner city communities. And like, because I even people don't even realize, but being a district representative is a heavy title to hold, especially when it's in an urban community or a community that's crime ridden and drug ridden and all things of those natures. A lot of people always have their complaints and grievances on what's going on in the White House. We already know that shit ain't going to change, but where you can actually disrupt the system and see some difference is if you are um, talking to the people in your local community. A lot of these people who are district representatives are people you either grew up with, could even be a family member, and you can get through to them or at least open the dialogue. And I think that's the biggest thing that the African American community has to understand. You're not going to always agree on things, but open the dialogue so people can have to be more than just one stance on many different situations.
Yeah. And just to shift the focus a little bit, um, going back to colonialism, I found this interesting video. So, they had an election last year in Italy where like people were calling the new Italian prime minister like a fascist. She's a right winger and all this the same shit they say about right wing people. I don't know how true it is or whatever, but I found this interesting. So she was going at France, and I feel like this is a perfect example of how the black diaspora worldwide is always used as a political football. And I found this shit interesting because peep this. Let me share my screen real quick. Where's it at? Here it is. So this is her going at France, basically. It should is interesting as fuck.
Meltdown attacking the Italian Prime Minister, Meloni, who they have also labelled far right and a fascist. Meanwhile, the Italian press call her what she is, center right, and the Italian people elected her their prime minister in September. Sensible people. Now, far from being some extremists that our mainstream media claim, Meloni is a deeply principled politician who has a habit of telling it like it is. Watch here as she explains how France.
Now, all that preamble she made, I don't know how true that shit is. You feel me? That's their politics over there, determine the framing of who's left and who's right. Honestly, I say fuck all that shit, but I don't know how true that is. I just wanted to preface it by saying that. But the clip she's about to play is really what I wanted. I wanted to highlight and focus on.
France continues to exploit poor African countries, which then adds to Europe's illegal immigration crisis.
Questo è un bambino che lavora in una miniera in Burkina Faso. Il Burkina Faso è una delle nazioni più povere del mondo. Per il Burkina Faso, che ha l'oro, la Francia stampa moneta coloniale. In cambio pretende che finiscano nelle casse del tesoro francese il 50% di tutto quello che il Burkina Faso esporta. L'oro che questo bambino si infila in un cunicolo per tirare fuori finisce per lo più nelle casse dello Stato francese. Allora la soluzione non è prendere gli africani e spostarli in Europa. La soluzione è liberare l'Africa da certi europei che la sfruttano e consentire a queste persone di vivere di quello che hanno.
Sweet.
So, on face value, you will look at that like, oh, little shorty spitting right now, right? On face value, you will look at it like that. But I'm looking at it as, I'm glad you're bringing this to the attention of the political lexicon, right? I'm glad that you're making this point, so now you have people talking about this. But my thing is, it's easy to say this as a point of when you so when you have beef, right? When you say like you having beef with somebody, right? It's very easy to use another person that has had beef with the person you currently have beef with and air their grievances to make that person look bad. However, when that beef ends, whatever happens to the end of that, when that ends, where does that leave that other person that had the beef with this person? Do they get the help that they need? Do they get, some type of apology? What do they get to rectify the wrong that was wrong to them? What actually happens in the end of this, aside from them being used as a political football for you to score political points? That is my question.
Exactly. And I'm gonna answer this by just, to be honest, just to basically say, like, certain situations don't always need to be involved everybody. Sometimes you gotta mind the business that pays you. Unless you're directly involved into the situation, then you put 2 cents in it, because then you're just opening yourself up to turn the target practice, or as you said, to be used. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, 9 times out of 10, there's not going to be no, at least little to no result out of the situation.
Yeah, and I like to highlight another point. Um, Chris made this point. My guy Chris made this point. But literally had his hand at that colonialism mess, and I think they tried to help take out Gaddafi. That's a good point. So it's easy to say that now, but my question is, like, let's say Gaddafi was successful in forming his economic United States of Africa, or as Sheikh Anta Diop like to call it, the Federated States of Africa. I don't think Europe would take too kindly to Africa basically saying we don't want to trade with you anymore. So not even a standpoint of we want to trade with you based upon our standards, like we want to form a fair trade. What if Africa was to come to Europe and say, hey, we don't want to trade with you guys at all. We don't need anything from you. We have all of our resources here. We can build here. We can manufacture here if we want it. But the problem is that you have Africa that's been imperialized for centuries and colonialized for centuries. That's the obvious point. But let's think hypothetically here. Let's say that all that magically went away tomorrow, right? And let's say like Africa magically, like industrial plants started coming up where they could produce their own food, they can make their own clothing, everything they need, kind of like how Russia is doing right now. The reason why the sanctions aren't hurting Russia as bad is because they have everything they need in their fucking country. As opposed to the United States, where you can't eat stock trades. You feel me? You can't eat derivatives. You can't, you can't burn trade swaps for fuel, but you can burn oil for fuel. You can eat wheat. These are things that Russia has and has built industries to be able to do that. So I'm saying take that and apply it to Africa, and Africa will be way better. Africa doesn't need the rest of the world. That's a point that Dr. Umar Johnson makes all the time. Africa doesn't need the rest of the world. So my question is always, I wonder if she would be saying the same thing if those conditions existed in Africa. And I don't think she would be saying the same thing. It's not like people aren't just born imperialist. People are born into imperialist systems, yes, but imperialism starts from seeing some shit somebody else has and you want to take that shit by any means necessary. And that is the circumstances that people aren't addressing. So we can take these pretty words from people all day and what the fuck they're saying, but when it comes down to it, she's going to align with the imperialist at the end of the day. And this is what I keep trying to explain to people. Like whenever you hear a politics, this is the same concept they bring up with AOC. When AOC was running, she was saying all the things. I'm for Medicare for all. I'm for all this shit that she talks about in the progressive lexicon when it comes to the conversations there. And then when she gets there, you never hear her talk about Medicare for all. She never talks about Palestinians. She shit on foreign policy. All of these things because she was put in a circumstance where all those things were okay, that she was probably okay with before, but was lying to her constituency. So that's where I'm saying, like, as Black people, the diaspora worldwide, we need to recognize, like, I'm gonna just keep it a beam, bro, because I'm kind of lit myself. These people are fucking evil. These niggas are evil. I'm not a religious person. They are fucking demons, bro. Like literally, sometimes I think Black people are in hell and they are literal fucking demons, bro. Because it's like they played it two sides. It's like last week on the stream when I was talking about the police and shit like that. Like we're talking about an issue that affects them too, and they don't give a fuck. That lets me know you are dealing with savages. You are dealing with evil people. They are willing to sacrifice their own just to get to you. They don't care. Bro, they don't care. And I'm still do that and recognize that shit and move accordingly. You will be way better off.
Move accordingly or move the fuck on. Certain people you just don't even need to politic with. You over here trying to ruffle up feathers with these folks, knowing that they already been batshit crazy. Ain't nothing changed,
bruh. And like, look, I'm not trying to demonize, all white people, but I'm saying like when it's one group that's all, it's like what Ye said, when it's like one group that's constantly fucking attacking you, which you Dave Chappelle said it best, bro. Dave Chappelle said it best. And then and again, I'm not targeting Jewish people, but I'm making a point here. When it's a group of black people, it's a gang. When it's a group of Italian people, it's a mafia. When it's a group of Jewish people, it happens to be a coincidence that we're not going to talk about. But when it's a group of white people, it's justified because America, because of patriotism, all this bullshit, or whatever. It's always an excuse with these people, and that's where I'm like, bruh, we need to acknowledge this shit and recognize this shit and move accordingly. Like, take the allies where you can get them, the people that aren't like that, because most Americans aren't for imperialism. If you're actually talking to most Americans aren't for imperialism. You talk to most Europeans aren't for imperialism. But the way the people in charge, and the way that these people that lie to their constituents and then get empowered and start acting on imperialism, when they get empowered, like, you force people to go to extreme ideologies. And that's where black people have been for centuries forced into these extreme ideologies, to the point where I like, bruh, fuck them. That's kind of where I'm getting to right
come
now,
on,
bro.
you know the biggest ideology of all is what they told the slaves before they put them on that ship. When you go over here, if you start believing in Christianity and all of that, they're gonna set you free. You will be free. The God.
And they wonder why Nat Turner lost his fucking mind, bruh.
What bad shit crazy. You wonder why Harriet was like, fuck you, I'm taking this railroad up north.
Bruh. That's when I see black Christians, that's the saddest thing I ever see, bro. Black people that still believe in God, bro. Black people that still
Like I told somebody the other day, bro.
shit.
I said, why do you think it's a King James version of the Bible? Because King James helped bring Catholic and Christianity to the U.S. as a ploy to make slaves feel like they have something to hold on to, when it's really nothing to hold on to, because they're going to have you trapped regardless. It's like, come on now. And even Harriet knew that. That's why Harriet took matters into her own hands and said, look.
And that's always been my contention with Malcolm X, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, the very few disagreements I have with Malcolm X is his religion. It's not about religion being bad. I'm not an atheist. I'm agnostic. But the problem is when you realize where these religions came from, bro. How these religions came into the African conscious, bro. Like, you had the Arab man that beat Islam into us. We had Christianity beat into us by different groups of people. Like, why are we worshiping the oppressor's God? Even when it comes to like the more like Buddhism and Hinduism and all that shit. Like, people forget India. Like, bro, like, no.
And
We need
the
to reject this shit.
the craziest thing is, it's like a lot of people say, well, God is man-made religion, and they try to use God as a ploy to reel you in to believe in their religion. Because if you even go back and read the Bible, there's nothing in it that says God wants you to be Christian, God wants you to be Muslim, God wants you to be Jew. It does not say that in there whatsoever. It might refer to certain religions as some of the disciples or whomever throughout the Bible, some of them might have practiced, or they were Jews and things like that. But it does not say that you have to directly go towards a certain religion. And when you say that, they want to be like, oh, well, as you can see, the Lord wants you to think. No, if y'all are using this book as your tools of life, like as your religion's handbook, then you should know what it really says, and not try to hit me with different lingo and things like that. And
I'm gonna bring
things like that.
I'm gonna bring my guy Jay on. He was the one commenting last time. Like, he has a wealth of trove of knowledge when it comes to the religions and everything. But one thing I even learned about recently was that not only do they lie about Egypt not being they lie about Egypt and say that it's not a black civilization. Whenever they find statues and depictions of Greek people, they attribute it to Greece. They find the same thing in China, they attribute it to China. They find the same thing in Arab countries, they attribute it to Arabs. But somehow when it's Egypt, and they directly tell you and paint and show how the people looked, oh, they're not Africans, they're white Negroids. That's literally what That's literally what academia is going on right now. They don't say it out loud anymore because they know it's some racist ass shit, but that is literally what they're saying. But when you look at Egypt, right? When you look at Egypt was the first monotheistic religion out there. So they literally changed the meaning of how the Egyptians viewed their gods. So the Egypts viewed their god Ra as the father, and then you had all of these sub gods as like the holy. So you had what's the one nigga's name? I think Osiris. He was like bro. I was reading shit and watching this video where this nigga was breaking this shit down. I was like, yo, this shit is fucking crazy, bro. And like it got to the point where Tutankhamun, his father actually changed the religions to institute like this multi-god worship and everything like that. And the people in Egypt revolted because they were a monotheistic religion. They believed that Ra was the overall monotheistic god, and all of the other gods, they're not really gods, but they were more like prophets or angels or shit like that. Like they were subsects of that, bro. It's so much shit that goes into it, bro. But they even lied to you about that, like the concept of they like to tell you like Judaism is the oldest monotheistic religion out there. No, it's the Egypt's religions, bro. So all of this, bro, all of this nonsense that they try, they try to, to paint with religion and things. And that's not me, condoning monotheistic religions just because it's black people doing it. You feel me? But basically, the overall point is like black people need to get this slave mentality out of their fucking heads of waiting for a God to say, bro. That's just where I'm at, bro. What's your opinion on that, bro?
Nah, I agree, and it's just like that just leads me further to my point of blacks just need
giggling and shit. What you laughing at, nigga? I'm nosy as shit. What you over there laughing at, nigga?
Nah, my people's walk by. But one of the things that a lot of African Americans gotta understand is that you just have to understand that certain shit just was never meant for us to even have and things like that. You just gotta realize, do what you did before the motherfuckers came over there. When you had your tribes and your civilizations, your berries and your fruits and your natural produce and all that, they needed to do that shit. You don't need to be going in this direction we're going in now. Go back to the roots. Go back to where it started, because you knew they was being as resourceful can be, and it's like that was the way. That was good. And then as soon as they came over there and snatched everybody up and took them on them boats to over here and shit, everything just went left. But if you go back to the roots of civilization when it comes to Africans as people, that right there will be the start of something good.
Yeah. But even going into, because I know you probably want to get off soon, but I wanted to play this video with you. I still don't understand how we let a whole race or whatever you want to call it take it. Yeah, I agree. This comment he said, I agree, bro. That's because we were so divided, though, bro. We were so divided.
Shout out my boy Keith. That was in the comment. Yeah, it's like it's how the hell can you understand that? Like you over there chilling, you got ancient warriors and or tribal leaders, and y'all let old fat ass Christopher Columbus or Thomas Jefferson, whoever came over there, and just snatched y'all up. Now shout out to some of the slaves that took over some of the ships, whether they were successful or not. But I'll be damned if one of them.
Well, you had like the Asante tribe that was straight up selling niggas there. And like, look, I'm not necessarily blaming, those tribes specifically, but what I'm saying is that when you had like Africans, even to this day, don't view each other as Africans. They view each other as I'm this country or this tribe, this, that, and the third. That's the mindset that people like Sheikh Anta Diop was trying to shake the black diaspora out of. Same thing with Gaddafi. Like Gaddafi used to consider himself an Arab until he started talking to fucking who? Farrakhan. Farrakhan put Gaddafi on game with niggas, bro, and Gaddafi started acting very differently towards like acknowledging himself as black.
Don't get me tough. We talking about the same Farrakhan that said the black man should wear his hair natural, but yet his hair looks slicker than oil,
bro. Fucking RZA, I think RZA Islam got a part, bro.
Yeah, he just got a part. He got a regular low cut, but a part. I always
thought the part was like the shit, because I never like.
It's just a simple fact, like, man, everybody know the truth about. My thing is, I don't throw no hate or disrespect towards anyone of the NOI. but you have to call things for what they are. Everybody and they grandma know how leadership truly was, and
I'm starting to believe.
it's
I don't think they were involved with Malcolm X though. I don't think they were. I'm starting to believe that. I don't think they were. I
I
really
don't
don't.
think they was directly involved, but I think they knew and they turned a blind eye.
I don't even think that anymore. I really don't. Especially hearing the extent of how COINTEL, what like we're learning new things about COINTEL, how deep this shit ran, bro.
Mhm.
Like, so. But let me play this. I wanted because I have you ever heard of Patrice Lumumba?
Name sounds familiar.
He was. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna play the video. So this is the same shorty I did on the stream last week where she was talking
Mhm.
about Thomas Sankara and Burkina Faso. I just wanted to play this with you because I thought you would find this shit interesting too. It's a little short video that we can watch and shit. So her channel's actually dope. I fuck with her channel. It's 22 minutes, so it's a video, but she really goes into the shit, bro. I will say she do be a little extra, so just bear with it.
What's up, people? It's your girl Adiola. How many Africans still remember the story of Patrice Lumumba? In fact, I will not be surprised that some Africans have never heard about Patrice Lumumba. In this era where African schools don't really teach African history, I mean, we learn more about the Queen of England when I was growing up in school than what happened in our own history. And in case you're wondering why you should care about what happened to this man, well, this man, Patrice Lumumba, by the age of 35, had impacted a legacy that so many of our present-day leaders in Africa can only dream of. And he has inspired so many people. And even though he's dead, he's still inspiring people. Recently, the country of Belgium returned the only remnant of Lumumba, his gold tooth. And they tendered some apology, which to me is not enough. I'll tell you why. But for you to understand the gravity of what Belgium did in the Congo, we have to go back in time. Before Belgium explorers arrived in the Congo, about 4 million Congolese people had been shipped out as slaves across the Atlantic Ocean to Brazil, to the US, and of course to the Caribbean. But in 1885, King Leopold II took over the country of Congo as his own personal property. That is something that I still cannot wrap my mind around. How anybody can decide that this new country, because of its natural resources and its beauty, is henceforth my personal property. How? We really need to talk about the Berlin Conference someday, when Africa was literally divided among colonialists as if Africa belonged to them. But even before then, even before the Berlin Conference, the US had recognized Belgium as the owner.
I just want to kind of stop it right there because that's kind of like how Palestine is in the situation it's in now. They did a similar thing to the Middle East as well. Like most of the borders you see in the Middle East right now, or East Asia, or I mean West Asia, as some as people across the globe call it and everything. They literally just like created these like boundaries without caring about like the different cultures and shit like that. And that's why you have a lot of the beefs you have now. So that's why I push back on people whenever they say, oh, well, those people have been fighting for centuries, they're going to continue to fight. And it's like, bruh, like it's not like this isn't a religious based thing. This is a colonial based thing. That's the same thing with Israel as well. You literally took a bunch of European white people and dropped them in the middle, or not even drop, because and the more I'm learning about is that you had a lot of European Jewish people that were immigrating to what was then Palestine, and it was the Ottoman Empire at that point. And after World War I, when Britain got control, it was partitioned to them as the Ottomans are basically like paying their war debts and things like that. Basically, Britain got it. This motherfucker, they basically, because the Israelis put together like these little spy groups and everything that eventually went into World War II, where they were doing like these secret missions, like kind of like what was going on in Glorious Bastards, but not as sensationalized. They were doing missions like that, assassinating Nazis and shit like that. But these motherfuckers were assassinating British prime minister or British officers in Palestine at that point to as a way to get them to give them the land of Palestine, which would then become occupied Palestine and what we call Israel. So a similar thing happened in the Middle East as well. I think I just thought it was fascinating to point that out too.
Of the Congo. The country of Congo, by the way, is 77 times bigger than the country of Belgium. But because he had soldiers and they had guns, King Leopold, for 23 years, he unleashed the most brutal enslavement in Africa. King Leopold II forced the people of Congo to extract their own natural resources for him to build Belgium. They were not seen as human beings, by the way, the people of Congo. In fact, animals were treated better than them. At least 10 million Congolese people were massacred in the 23 years that King Leopold II was in charge of Congo. Many of them were flogged to death. And we're talking about in the 1800s, 10 million people. The population of Belgium today is 11 million, just to put it in perspective. Now, this is different from the millions of Congolese people whom he cut off their hands and their genitals, whom he starved, whom he held their children as ransom. In fact, he cut off the hands of so many children as well, and he burned down so many villages at a time, because anytime they failed to meet the quota of extracting rubber, among other things. If you see how advanced some Western countries are today, make sure that you also know their history, because many countries were built by Africa's natural resources. Now, the situation in Congo was so bad that there was a public outcry all over the world. There were reports of widespread murder, torture, and other abuses in the rubber plantations, and this led to international outcries against King Leopold II. And so the Belgian government took control of Congo from King Leopold, and they decided to make it a colony of Belgium instead of a country of slaves that are being treated anyhow. So in 1908, Congo became a colony of Belgium, which is also a sad joke, country relation-wise, not to talk about how big, how vast Congo is compared to Belgium. Like I said, Congo is 77 times bigger than the country of Belgium. And as of that time, if the history statistics was anything to go by, the population of Belgium was about 2 million, and the population of Congo as of that time was more than 9 million, according to Statistica.com. And that is despite the fact that for 20 years before that, about 10 million Congolese people had been killed. But then, of course, Belgium had guns, and, they had the army. And though they were now a colony of Belgium, Belgium still treated them as less equal.
Under Belgian rule, natives had virtually no political voice and had no rights to own land or travel around the country as they pleased. Although they could attend primary schools, the only other form of further education available to most natives was either in Catholic seminaries or the colonial army. Only in the year 1950, nearly half a century into the colonial era, were native Congolese permitted to attend the same secondary as the children of Belgian settlers.
Just imagine, this is your country. People came to your country and suddenly you are not human anymore. They were not even allowed to be educated beyond secondary school until about the 50s.
While natives were encouraged to train as clerks, traders, miners, and mechanics, they could not become doctors, lawyers, or architects. In sharp contrast to British colonial policy, which generally relied on a level of joint enterprise between natives and the colonial administration, the Belgian approach was aimed at ensuring complete dependence on Belgian manpower and expertise.
It was in the 50s, by the way, that we started knowing about Patrice Lumumba, who was part of the movement for independence in Congo. He was a poet, and many of his writings at that time had anti-imperialist themes. And so it caught the attention of the colonialist. He was also a journalist and a clerk at the post office. So as he became more and more popular with agitations for independence, the authorities wanted to keep him in his place. They wanted to teach him a lesson. So after a study tour in Belgium in 1956, he was accused of embezzling $2,500 from the post office where he worked. And so for that, he was jailed for 12 months. But instead of that keeping him down, that actually made him more determined and more committed to the cause of seeking for independence. He just totally kicked against anybody coming into his country and treating him like an animal. He was only 31 years old at that time, by the way. And then in 1958, when he was 33 years old, was when he founded his own party, the Movement National Congolese, MNC, focusing on independence, state-led economic development, and of course, neutrality in foreign affairs. So all this, the fact that he's not dependent on Belgium, put him ahead of his contemporaries. There were other people agitating for independence as well, but they still wanted to be dependent on Belgium. But his philosophy was that Africans don't need to depend and that they have everything they need to be self-sufficient. You guys remember we've talked about how blessed the Democratic Republic of Congo is.
So again, you hear that point that I was making when it came to that Italian prime minister. This is a point that every single one of these revolutionary African leaders was talking about. You hear Dr. Umar talking about it as well. Like they don't need these other countries, but that's the whole point of imperialism, is to keep those countries down. Like, just your thoughts on that real quick, bro.
Oh no, because I'm gonna definitely give my thoughts before I head out. Not head out, but I'm gonna still be in here, whether it's off the panel. But nah, you're 100% right, because like these countries, especially specifically Belgium, and how long King Leopold reigned, they really didn't need anybody's help. But mind you, for situations such as they're explaining right now with Patrice Mongol, my apologies if I mispronounced his name, but a situation like that is literally, if you really think about it, the same scenario that Nelson Mandela was in. It's like you're going to have these people come along at some point in time and say, hey, we're not about to sit here and go through X, Y, Z. We're tired of this. We're going to uprise and we're going to, oversee things and change things. And that's the prime example of this whole entire thing. And I feel like you see these stories time and time again in other countries, and it's like I see how it all reverts back to what you were just saying, with how y'all did these things and think, oh, we forgot. But then you want to come out 40, 50, 60, 70 years later when certain things start to become a political trend and say, hey, we feel like we agree with what you're saying finally after 70 years. And it's like, bro, the same thing that you're believing in now was the same thing 70 years ago. Now it's just more in your face. So I feel like these things are prevalent to happen, and it always does happen. But a lot of, as mentioned, African Americans got to understand, like, these political games and these political tyrants, they're going to continuously do these things, and history always repeats itself. So as long as you allow history to repeat itself, these things are going to continue to happen. So I feel like it's amazing to see that it took all that time for them just to get ahead, and even them getting ahead still felt like they had a miles of ways to go. But just knowing that, they were literally pulling the wool over people's eyes and just acting like the big bully, because no one would really take that leap forward, is just shameful. But you see this happen time and time again, as you just mentioned. Even the U.S. and its faulty missions and the bombings that they're always so anxious to do on these countries that really have little to nothing to do with them and not doing any harm to them. It's just shameful.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better though. They get even more disrespectful, bro. I'm telling dog. It gets even more disrespectful.
The natural resources, the vast rivers, and everything make them even better than Dubai of today. So that same year, he attended the All African People's Conference in Accra, Ghana, which was hosted by Ghanaian Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame really loved Patrice, by the way. He really admired him. And this is where his speech in Ghana inspired a lot of Africans of like-minded. And then a year later, Lumumba was arrested for inciting an anti-colonial riot in Stanleyville, Congo. 30 people were killed that time, and then he was sentenced to 6 months in prison. But despite Lumumba being in prison, his party, the MNC, won a majority in the December local elections in the Congo. And as a result of strong pressure from delegates who are upset by Lumumba's trial, he was released and allowed to attend the Brussels conference, where it was decided that Congo would finally and formally become an independent country by June of that year, June 30th of 1960. And then on June 30th, 1960, Patrice became the first prime minister of Congo. And he gave a speech that the world did not forget.
Les insultes, les coups que nous devions subir matin.
Wow, I need an ad blocker.
Midi et noir qui oubliera qu'à un noir, on disait tu, non certes comme à un ami, mais parce que les voix honorables étaient réservées aux seuls blancs.
This man, at the age of 35, spoke without apology about how his people had been treated by Belgium.
Nous avons connu que nos terres furent spoliées au nom des textes prétendument légaux qui ne faisaient que reconnaître les droits du plus fort. Nous avons connu que la loi n'était jamais la même, selon qu'il s'agissait des blancs ou des noirs, accommodante pour les uns, cruelle et inhumaine pour les autres.
We'll definitely put the link to the full speech in the description below so you guys can watch it, but it was packed. That speech did not sit well with Belgium. Keep in mind, by the way, that his speech that day was in response to the speech given by King Baldwin. While he was granting them independence, he went on into praising King Leopold II, saying that he didn't come as a conqueror, but he came to civilize them.
L'indépendance du Congo constitue l'aboutissement de l'œuvre conçue par le génie du roi Léopold II, entreprise par lui avec un courage tenace et continuée avec persévérance par la Belgique.
Il demande surtout de ne rien changer, si on n'est pas sûr de faire mieux.
Nobody criticized King Baldwin for what he had said. He said all those things, and the president, you know, they had the prime minister and they had the president. The president, when it was his turn, he just got up and thanked the king for his speech. But when it was time for Patrice to speak, he decided to say what was actually in the minds of so many of the Congolese people. He was not afraid of what could happen to him.
Les images ont été perdues. La voix est restée.
Nous avons connu les ironies, les insultes, les coups que nous devions subir matin, midi et soir, parce que nous étions des nègres.
But as expected, that speech did not sit well with Belgium. It didn't even sit well with the West because according to history books, most European journalists that reported that speech, because you know it was televised, they were shocked by Lumumba's speech. And Western media criticized him instead of praising him for what he said. In fact, Time magazine at that time characterized his speech as a venomous attack. Many people feared that his speech was a call to arms, was going to incite Africans to start attacking them. One thing that Belgium and the US realized that day was that they would not be able to control Patrice Lumumba and that he would not willingly give his country's natural resources to them. Now, when you have time, guys, try to read this article titled "The DRC and America's Nuclear Weapons," because throughout the 1940s and the 1950s, the Congo was actually #1 supplier of uranium to the US. In fact, 80% of the uranium that America used to build the nuclear bombs that were launched against Japan during the World War II in 1945, which made the US win, originated from the mines of Congo. So you can see how not just Belgium, but the US also needed access to the resources of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So Patrice became a stumbling block for them, which is why till today there are several debates about whether or not the US, the CIA, is involved in the killing of Patrice Lumumba or not.
2 months later, with the CIA, with White House approval, decreeing that he should be assassinated. Giving independence to an African colony was okay for them as long as it didn't disturb existing business arrangements, as long as the European country could continue to own the mines, the factories, the plantations.
Also, political science professor Stephen Weissman, who served on the staff of the House of Representatives Subcommittee on Africa from 1979 to 1991, had this to say.
Now, most Americans, and even many diplomatic historians, are not aware of what I'm going to discuss here, of the fact that there was a CIA role in the assassination of Patrice Lumumba.
And then, of course, he said that this was denied.
The Church Committee, a committee of the United States Senate, investigated this and determined Lumumba was killed by Congolese rivals. It does not appear from the evidence that the United States was in any way involved with the killing. But this is a mistake. The CIA station chief, Larry Devlin, participated, along with the Belgian officials and Congolese on the CIA payroll, in the decision to transfer Lumumba to this secessionist state of Katanga.
Also, keep in mind that Democracy Now! In 2011 interviewed a former CIA agent who had this to say about what happened.
CIA had developed a program to assassinate Lumumba. The operation didn't work. They didn't follow through on it. It was to give poison to Lumumba, and they couldn't find a setting in which to get the poison to him successfully in a way that it wouldn't appear to be a CIA operation. I mean, you couldn't invite him to a cocktail party and give him a drink and have him die a short time later, obviously.
And so it was not a surprise after he gave that speech that within 7 days of him becoming a prime minister, rebels sprung up in different parts of the country wanting to take power from Patrice. And then Belgium said that they were going to help him to stop the rebels. But guess what Belgium did? They brought in soldiers to work with the rebels so that they could overthrow Patrice. So Patrice asked for help from the United Nations, and they said no. And so guess what he did? He turned to the Soviet Union, enemies of Belgium, enemies of the US. You know, the understanding was if the Soviet Union should help Patrice, they may not have access to the uranium to build nuclear weapons, which the other parties don't want. And so the US and Belgium allegedly sponsored to get rid of Patrice Lumumba.
They handled it by the chief of station talking to Mobutu about the threat that Lumumba posed, and Mobutu going out and killing Lumumba, having his men kill Lumumba.
And did I mention that Patrice had a personal assistant by the name Mobutu Sese Seko? Mobutu Sese Seko used to be close to Patrice Lumumba. He used to be in the and he used to be an informant for the Belgians. And also he used to be a journalist. It breaks my heart because, to be honest with you, the summary of Patrice Lumumba's story is that we Africans are our own problem. There was nothing outsiders could do if there was no one inside willing to compromise. It's so unfortunate that someone that was close to him became the person that was used against him. And guess what? It's still happening today. We have never been united. If we were united, we wouldn't be where we are. If the people of Congo were united, first of all, there wouldn't be any uprising by any rebels in the first place. And if only Mobutu Sese Seko was not a sellout, Patrice Lumumba may still be alive today. We don't know. But by now, Patrice had trusted Mobutu so much so that when he became the prime minister, he gave Mobutu Sese Seko the office of the Secretary of State to the presidency. And then when the rebels started agitating in different parts of the country and the Belgium sided with the rebels, Patrice fired the Belgian military officers. And he made his confidant, Mobutu Sese Seko, the chief of staff of the army.
By aligning himself to American and Belgian interests, Mobutu realized that he could use their military might to consolidate power for himself and create a perfectly symbiotic relationship between him and two of the world's most powerful countries.
Someday we'll talk about Mobutu. Patrice had no idea that by making him the head of the army, he just gave him the resources he needed to overthrow him.
Acting in collaboration with President Kasavubu, the Belgians and the Americans, Mobutu would go on to arrange for the capture and secret execution of the very same man that had brought him to the corridors of power.
And I think I should let you guys know that he was 31 years old at that time when he decided to betray Patrice, when he decided to betray his own country for greed, for Belgium. And so he had him arrested.
Following his capture by crack commandos of strongman Colonel Mobutu, taken to Mobutu's headquarters past a jeering, threatening crowd, Lumumba was impassive at this lowest ebb of his stormy career.
We've helped millions of creators improve their M2 two buddies of get.
Mobutu watched as his troops manhandled Lumumba, but promised the pro-red Lumumba a fair trial.
And of course, after torturing Patrice and his men that were arrested with him, he had the firing squad shoot them. And their bodies were thrown into a shallow grave. But of course, the following morning, they decided to make the bodies disappear. And they wanted to prevent a burial site from being created so that people would not be going there. And so Belgian officer Gerard Souete and his team dug up and dismembered their bodies and dissolved their bodies in sulfuric acid while their bones were grounded and scattered. The only thing that remained of Patrice Lumumba was his gold tooth. And that officer took it to Belgium, where it has been for the last 61 years.
On the 21st of January, they dismembered the corpses and dissolved them in sulfuric acid, secretly saving 2 teeth from Lumumba's body as a trophy.
And that's what was now returned. So Patrice could finally get a befitting burial in his own country. And that's why I said, personally, I don't think that it's enough to say we're sorry. I mean, with all that they did, Congo has not recovered from what the Belgians did. And Mobutu went on to be one of the worst dictators in Africa for 3 decades. And even now, Congo has not gotten on its feet. You know, I think that there should be some kind of repatriation for the damage done in Congo, for taking democracy from them. Although I will not suggest giving money or anything to African leaders as repatriation, because it would not get to the people. They would, you know, steal it, embezzle it. Let me know what you guys think to compensate the people of Congo for killing their hope. So
yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. But yeah, so like again, like everything we just talked about is like literally encompassed in that fucking story, bro. So I just wanted to show that because I thought it was a fascinating story and to highlight, you know, these African leaders during that time.
Definitely. And before I hop off, just want to say a wonderful show, by the way. Definitely wonderful show. Definitely happy for the viewers you had. But before I get off, just want to say you can't trust your own damn people. That's permanent right there. Same thing happened with Nelson. He had his own kind that sold him out too. And it's like if you don't agree with somebody's opposing viewpoints, you can let that be. But for you to sit there and sell out someone who trusts you just for greed, just for you to end up taking his spot and become one of the most evilest dictators, and you see the person above you, excuse me, Charles Taylor. That's another story for another day too, because he comes from one of my best friends' country, Liberia. That's what he ruled over for years, and he's in jail now in the UK for political crimes. But it's just like you hate to see that because it always takes that one person to rise from the ashes and to try to do things the right way just for them to get torn down. And it just sucks. It just sucks. But appreciate you having me on, bro. Always
sure.
glad to be on the panel. I'm still being here tuned in, but definitely everybody stay informed and just stay aware. That's definitely the biggest thing that you can do nowadays. Stay informed, stay aware.
Yeah, I think
But
I'm gonna do
peace,
one
bro.
more story. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do one more story and then call it a night. So definitely stay locked.
Got you, bro. Oh yeah, for sure, bro. Definitely.
But all right, bro.
All right, bro.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I thought it was fascinating to show. Goes with the theme of Black History Month too, I guess. So, but going along with that video though, people wonder why these African countries, you know, really fuck with Russia and China and things like that, and situations like that is why, because they're not doing shit like that in their countries. But just to go in line with that, I came across this Richard Medhurst video that I think wait, what's going on? You said what? Hold on. The movement one. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, bro. Let me I gotta escape. Because I found this interesting video talking about the economics right now. And Richard Medhurst, he does a great job breaking that stuff down. So I wanted to talk about that. I just gotta find it. Here it is. These goddamn commercials, man. I gotta get an ad blocker. All right. So I got the video queued up. This is Richard Medhurst. talking about this. Actually, bro, when you look at a lot of those contracts that are owned, they're not actually owned by China. So that's a situation that isn't like properly. I know this because I was like, that is a point that's never properly contextualized. So China doesn't believe into going into countries and overthrowing the leaders because they may not like the way they govern or rule or things like that. So whether your country is led by, your country can be led by a communist, your country can be led by a brutal, fascist dictator, your country can be, ruled by a capitalist, whatever. Their goal is to come in and do business with those countries and get and get a fair deal out of those countries. Now, how those countries run their governments is up to those countries. China's not going to come in and dictate to them saying, hey, you have to get rid of this leader because we don't like X, Y, and Z that they're doing to their people, blah, blah, blah. So that's where I say conversations need to be had. And I'm not African, so I can't personally have these conversations because those aren't my leaders. But if I was African, I would say that that's where we need to be having conversations about leadership as well. I'm not like excusing. I'm sure there's bad things that happen with China involved, but the overall mechanisms that's going on there in terms of industrialization and development that's happening under these deals with Russia and China. So long as it's done under business, it's cool to take control. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that's a matter of government. Like China. So what do you want? You want China to go in and overthrow the government? Is that what you want? Because how well has that worked? That's all. That's always my question. So like the whole purpose of the foreign policy that I advocate for is for the United States to conduct, proper trade with these countries as opposed to going in and bombing them and killing their people. I'm not saying that, the government, the Congo government, using their people as slaves is correct or right. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that is something that is up to the people of those governments to do something about that. I don't believe in a foreign country going in telling, going around saying we don't like this leader, so we're going to overthrow him, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. I'm saying that China's looking at the situation, like look at the countries they're doing business with. They're not all, managed in the same way that they are in the Congo, but there are countries in Africa that are just corrupt. That's just the fact of the matter. So that's where a political movement needs to happen there. And I believe that political movement is happening. Like the further, the more class consciousness and the more consciousness of imperialism and deindustrialization of Africa and the third world, or not the third world, the global south overall, the more that consciousness is made aware of and spread in Africa, I think that's where you're going to see the changes happening. So that's what I think. Without a distinction that the worst this is for. Wow, China. How exactly does China use economic pressure though? Because last time I checked, it was the World Bank and the IMF that used those tactics against these countries. So like that whole concept so for example, that narrative around what country was it where the right was yelling about China stealing the airport? That turned out to be Uganda. Like situations like that where like that's again, this is a product of governance of the African countries. So that's where I'm not arguing. I mean, I feel like Sri Lanka is a perfect. I covered a video on this channel of there was somebody from the Schiller Institute. That's what's his face? What is that guy's name? He goes on Caleb Maupin's show all the time. He's like he's part of like the LaRouche movement or whatever. But let me find it. But I know it's the Schiller Institute. Like they've done great work exposing a lot of um these uncontextualized accusations against China, where it's like when you look at the deals between China. Daniel Burke, yes, Daniel Burke. Thanks, Chris. Basically tell the government, hey, do you still want all our goods and services? You need to produce X and give us rights to the land. But that's just objectively not happening. That's what the West is doing in those countries. I literally, and I have a map. See, man. See, now you're gonna make me. I'm gonna have to come on here and do a stream tomorrow. No, it's not. I literally have. All right. See, this is what I talk about, how propaganda is so pervasive in the United States, because when you look at the contracts and the deals, and when you look at who is owning most of these mines in Africa, it's not China. When I was looking at it, it was nothing but European and American flags. So yeah. But moving on to the next segment, I'm definitely going, bro. I'm hop in the stream tomorrow. Hop in the stream tomorrow. I have Googled it actually. So yeah. But I found this new like economic block that is being formed by the BRICS nations to be very interesting. So this challenge, like I was talking about it on the stream the last time I was on here, but this new economic block that they are building, to combat, the power of the dollar, honestly, like de-dollarization is happening at a rapid state. I mean, you can argue maybe it's the mismanagement of the Biden administration. I wouldn't disagree with you on that front. Like, obviously, the Ukraine situation has been what is speeding this up. And it's clear that the World Economic Forum's agenda is all over this. But when it's the hyper focus on that, I'm not saying that's not a big part of it, but I'm also saying you got to recognize that there's multiple different factions and competing agendas that have an interest in the way this is playing out. So you have the World Economic Forum and their like, degrowth agenda and all those things. But then I also think you have the overall, like the traditional, neocon military industrial complex agenda that's playing out too with Russia. Now, whoever's winning out the most out of those, just those two. Because then you have the arms industry as well. Like, so when I was talking about the military industrial complex, that goes into intelligence and things like that. But you also have the military industrial complex, like the actual arms manufacturers that have a stake in this. All of these different competing factions have stakes in how this thing is playing out. But to me, it seems like the overall goal of full spectrum dominance that the West is, has always been used to and craving, it seems like that's not necessarily the what's playing out in right now and with Ukraine in terms of like de-dollarization and things like that. So Richard breaks it down here. I actually watched the stream. I think this is a clip from his stream he did a couple of days back. So, but now we're finding out that Russia and Iran are linking their banking system. So I'll just go ahead and let him break this down, because I found this like fascinating. And like I said, Richard is a great resource when it comes to geopolitics and things like that. So let's get into it.
Guess what? Between Russia and Iran, they've linked their banks. Yeah. So here you can see this from Reuters. Iran and Russia linked banking systems amid Western sanctions. I mean, this is spectacular, honestly, because when we're talking about linking their banks, SWIFT is the mainstream messaging system that's used to communicate. SWIFT doesn't transfer money; it just communicates orders, right? So after 2014, the Russians started developing their own SPFS, it's called, and the Chinese also, they've been developing their own for a few years. But again, it's limited because, even if you have your own system, you have to get all the other banks across the world to use your system. Now, because Iran was the first country to be completely banned from SWIFT, and now the Russians are also facing sanctions. They're basically looking at each other and saying, you know what, why not? Let's just connect our banks. Screw them. We don't need SWIFT. Remember, two countries, I think, banks. So just again, to read you the main points here, they've connected their interbank communication and transfer systems to help boost trade and financial transactions. And here's the Deputy Central Bank saying that Iranian banks no longer need to use SWIFT with Russian banks, which can be for the opening of letter of credits and transfers or warranties. He also said that about 700 Russian banks and 106 non-Russian banks from 13 different countries will be connected to the system. I believe the number of Iranian banks is about 52, right? But again, it's not just the number; it's that you have the central banks, taking part in this, and it's huge. It's really, really huge. I also explained this how the Iranian systems is SCPAM and the Russians.
And I remember that was a big thing they were talking about, was kicking Russia out of SWIFT as well, which is how basically like you conduct transactions in turn, with things with trade and all of those things. And that's what this, I'll just call it the BRICS block. That's kind of what, conversations, they've been having even pre-pandemic, honestly. And then the pandemic and then the Ukraine stuff kind of accelerated that. Because I remember they were originally talking about creating this like basket of currencies within the BRICS, that BRICS coalition, that BRICS block, where we use each other's currencies to trade rather than using the dollar. Thus, you eliminate the dollar, having the power that it has. But now, from what I've been hearing, it seems like they're talking about actually creating, like kind of like how the European Union has the euro, and basically how the BRICS blocks are going to have like one currency. So it's still like I'm still trying to get a proper understanding of it. The more I'm looking into it myself, and I'm not some economic guru or things like that, but it when you understand like the geopolitics, like the foreign policy of these different countries, and obviously the American foreign policy that literally like is at the center of all of this, like you kind of get a basic gist of what's going on. So it seems like they're having conversations about, like I said, creating that BRICS currency. You feel me? So like creating like a euro, or because even Lula was talking about creating this currency and things like that. And all of these different leaders, I know Iran, all of these BRICS countries have been talking about these global South countries have been talking about this. So it's fascinating shit. Like I said, like here in the States, living here in the States, I'm trying to warn people that, and I'm not saying people in America here have had it sweet economically, but in terms of like the worth of the dollar, I feel like people are looking at the wrong thing. So we're looking at, Medicare and Medicaid, all of these social programs as a way, basically trying to implement austerity here in the States, rather than attacking what is the driving cause of this happening, which is the foreign policy. And the United States is, their full spectrum dominance agenda that they're pushing, which is making this happen. So it's craziness.
PFS, they can just talk to each other directly now. And this is another iteration of de-dollarization, and I don't know what you want to call it, de-swiftization. But that's basically what it is, right? It's the birth of a new model as a result of Western sanctions. And this is what I was talking about, where I said that the West are shooting themselves in the foot. This is what I mean, because right now you might look at it and you scoff and say, well, who cares about Iran and Russia? Who cares about a few hundred banks? Yeah, now. But even now, it's already significant. What do you think is going to happen in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years? Because, just a few months ago, the Chinese, I'm not talking about the messaging systems now, but payment. So in terms of credit cards, in Russia, they have something called MIR, M-I-R. That's their alternative to Visa and MasterCard. And, because of the sanctions, Visa and MasterCard pulled out of Russia. And if you live in Russia and you have one of those cards, you can use it still inside of Russia, but you can't buy anything outside of Russia with your Visa or your MasterCard. You're isolated. So what did the Chinese do? The Chinese, they have Union Pay, and they basically just linked it with the Russian one, right? So after that happened, the Iranians and the Venezuelans said, we also want to be linked to you guys. And now, in addition to the payment systems, now you have the messaging system being expanded. And this is really important because all of these countries in the global South, especially BRICS countries, right? So I just mentioned Russia and China. They are growing at such a ridiculous rate. China, as you all know, is going to overtake the U.S. as the world's first economy. It's just a question of time, right? I know if people always say in 5 years, in 10 years, and now it's already, we're past that, but it's just a question of time. It's coming for sure. This is huge, man. Everyone wants to join BRICS, even the Saudis, who are supposed to be, the American lapdog. I don't like to say that because obviously it's not very nice, but I'm talking about the traditional relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States, which is the petrodollar, the oil for security, oil sells in dollars for security. So even the Saudis are kind of, they're having second thoughts now, and they have expressed a willingness to join BRICS. Argentina wants to join the BRICS. Iran wants to join the BRICS. Everyone wants to join these countries because they're the future. So that's why this is significant. You've never had something like this before. This is huge. And I know they're not going to make, they're not going to put this on CNN's top stories, even though they should, because this is something that is going to impact the future of not just the global South, but, the West, because right now it's very easy for the United States to weaponize the dollar and weaponize SWIFT. Yeah, okay, but the more you push countries away, the more reason you're giving them to just cut you out and make their own system.
And that's what we've been seeing play out. Now, like I said, I want to highlight this comment that the Movement One put out. Like, definitely go check out his link in the comments, because like I said, I'm open to receiving new information if I'm wrong on something. So that's a link that I'm definitely going to be checking out myself. But I want to highlight it and say, go hop in the chat and check out his link and check it out. Judge it for yourself. But from my research that I've done, and like I said, I don't just, I know how to do my research. From what I've seen, it's mostly been European flags in a lot of these mines over there in Africa. And they're trying to frame it like the West is trying to frame it as solely this China thing, and then taking out the context of you have a lot of these governments due to colonialism, imperialism, and then eventually implementing these austerity policies that have given birth to a lot of corrupt governments in Africa. Like I hear even Africans talk about that shit all the time. So, and that in no way, shape, or form, like me saying that I believe China can be a benefactor, or not a benefactor, but a benefit to Africa, doesn't mean that I don't think Africa should be. That's okay, but that's not me saying that Africa can't be independent because of that. The whole stream I've been talking about that, but I'm saying using the opportunities that is presented to you to lift yourself up, whereas now you can't do that when you have corrupt leadership. Though that's just my whole point. It's talking about the leadership in Africa. I don't have the power to do nothing about it because I'm not African. All I can do is talk about that, and that's what I do here on my channel a lot. So, but I would definitely check out your link and cover it on the show tomorrow, if I do a stream tomorrow, by the way, because I do have, like I said, I have another pod that I'm doing with my homie Wrapped Out Shiz tomorrow. So, but let's continue with this article so we can close up, because your boy is getting hungry.
And the United States has sanctioned so many people now. And you should include the EU in that, right? It's the US and the EU. They've sanctioned so many countries now that they have become a minority. You understand what I'm saying? The sanctioned countries have more, their populations are bigger, their economies are on track to become bigger. So now it's like they've shot themselves in the foot, and they've isolated themselves in the end. That's the final result. I don't need to tell you about the drastic effect this has when you cut, when you target a country's oil sector, or in Iran's case, the banking sector. They thought with Russia it's going to be the same. But because Russia is next to Europe, it has ties with Europe, business ties, literal ties with the Nord Stream pipelines. A lot of blowback happened, a lot, and it's still happening. They thought it's going to be a joke and it's going to be an easy ride, and it's proving to be the opposite. They're coming up, these countries that have been sanctioned, coming up with very creative ways, not just to bypass the sanctions, but to make their own system. So this is why I wanted to give you this piece of news. And one more thing, Turkey, in Turkey, you have a lot of Russian tourists.
Bro, by the way, regardless of how you feel about what's his face, Erdogan in Turkey, that nigga is diabolical as fuck, bro. That nigga is a genius, bro. This nigga is like getting everything he fucking wants right now for the most part. Like I feel like classes should be written about, you know, political savviness, and this nigga should be the main person they talk about, because this nigga he's been playing this crisis to benefit him and Turkey this whole fucking time. I just find that shit so fucking fascinating, bro, because it's like, you know, previously, like we all know the history of how Turkey is like a frenemy to both the United States and Russia, and it kind of plays both parts. But specifically Erdogan, bro, like this nigga basically talking about not letting Sweden, and I think that's a done deal. Sweden not getting into NATO. Shit is wild, and he might be doing the world a favor, you know, for that, pushing us further away from the brink of, you know, nuclear conflict between Russia and the United States. But holy fuck, bro, that is him, like how he's been maneuvering the geopolitical climate now. I think is just fucking, I'm not celebrating it or applauding it. I'm just saying that nigga's a fucking genius. That is all I'm saying.
They love going there. So, you know, Turkey, which is in NATO and wants to be in the EU, and is kind of walking this tightrope, you know, between not pissing off the Russians and not pissing off the Americans. Turkey did not sanction Russia. Turkey expanded, basically made it easier for people with Russian Mir credit cards to pay for their stay or whatever their expenses are in Turkey. So, you know, they basically expanded the payment system to accommodate Russians. So, you know, even though Turkey is not going to have the same positions as Iran or, you know, some of the other sanctioned countries, you can still see how, you know, most of the world is trying to maintain ties with the Russians and even kind of help them circumvent the sanctions, right? Because again, you have these Visa and MasterCard, they're useless for you if you go to Turkey or go anywhere else. The Mir you can use, and the Turks are like, okay, well, you know, we'll expand it for you, which gives it more prestige and then makes more people want to adopt that, right? And the Chinese, they did. So I think it's very important to not overlook this story and think of the impact that it will have later. Remember, Iran and Russia specifically, so much gas, right? Russia's number one and Iran is number two. That's how much gas, proven natural gas reserves they have. So, you know, when they're linking their banking systems, you know, if you're in the treasury, I wouldn't scoff at this. Huh? Let's put it that way.
Well, good afternoon to the Woodrow Wilson International Center.
I just thought that was fascinating. Like I said, Richard always does a great job of breaking that stuff down. Like I said, I think his channel is a great resource to be used. So, the United States, man. Wagwan, brother. Yes, sir. Thank you. So yeah, so the hyper de-dollarization is the de-dollarization is chugging along at a rapid speed, and I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. That shit is wild to see though. So, but guys, that will be the stream. We're going on like damn near 4 hours. This was a long ass stream. I had a lot of fun doing this shit. Shout out to my guy Joshy, the CEO, for tuning in. Shout out to all of you guys that tuned in as well, commenting and all of that. As always, like, subscribe, and share. Emphasis on all that. Like I said, I may do a stream tomorrow. I don't know yet, though. Like I said, I'm going to be busy tomorrow with like I said, I'm doing another podcast with a homie, so we shall see. And other things may come up. No, it's the freaking weekend. I drank to that. Yeah. I've been sipping on this scotch the whole time. I've become a scotch fanatic. I don't know why. I really like scotch now. I don't know why. It's the cheap shit, but still good. So, but guys, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share as always. And yeah, peace. Be easy.